Welcome to this special presentation of the Hard Rock Show. I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Belle.
And I'm Conrad.
We got there. Well done, people. This is always fun. As you can see, for those who haven't seen some of the live streams, you'll notice a few new faces here, and there's one that is a very brand new face joining us for the first time ever.
Me, my first time.
Dave, you're the second longest tenured person at the Hard Rock Show these days. So there's that. There's
Wow.
that for you. Aside from me, you're the longest. But anyway, we're here tonight to do our top 10s of 2022. Dave and myself, you know, obviously from being on the show for a number of years now, but we've been thankfully joined by Jeff and Conrad, and who you've seen on streams before. And for the first time, like I was saying, Belle, we finally got her in on one of these little broadcasts here. Won't do the live one, but we'll get on a pre-record and we'll get to hopefully, if this one makes it easy for you, might get into live stream later on. But anyway, that's for another time. Tonight, like I was saying, we are going to do the top 10s for 2022. We'll try and do, I'm not sure how this is going to work out because I know that some people on the regular crew of the show have got some stuff they want to send in either in written form or video forms for me. So I might try and cut some of those in as we go through. So if there are some abrupt jumps later on, then I do apologize for that in advance. But yeah, basically we're going to go through things, and Dave and I in particular are going to quickly rattle off some stuff on 2021 because we didn't do our top 10s for that year. We never got around to it in the end, which was a bit of a shame. But sorry?
We're so slack.
So slack. It's just a matter of, we've worked out that December is the worst time to accomplish anything at all. And we used to do it in January, which is why it always used to work. And then we tried to make it for December. And the first time we really tried to make it December, it just completely fell over. This year we've managed to make it work, which is good. So yeah, we'll see how we go. We've got a few categories to go through as always. What are we going to quickly do? Some touch on 2021. We'll do some thoughts on 2022. We've got some discoveries from this year that are both from the year and from years gone by. We've got album art, best song, best video, the top 10 obviously, and a bunch of other categories as well, including live music stuff. So there's a whole lot to get through tonight. Before we get stuck into these, details as always are in the episode description, so make sure you like, follow, subscribe at whatever platform you choose to do so, whether you're checking this out on YouTube or listening to it on Spotify and other audio services. Thank you for checking it out. Hopefully you enjoy it, and make sure you give us your thoughts on what your top 10 or any favorites you've got of these categories are. Just go through in the comments wherever you can and let us know your favorites. Also, check out our fantastic sponsors. A big thank you, as always, to Squid Ink Screenprinting, Alt-Cvlt Rockstar Finance. Their details, just like ours, are in that episode description. So just, give them a like or a follow too. That'd be greatly appreciated. We've got to give a big, big thank you to them for sticking with us for a few years now. So we have a lot of love for them. So make sure you just hit that like button and give them some love as well. It'd be greatly appreciated by us here. If you want to help us out yourselves and maybe join us like we have some people here, check out our Patreon page too. There's that link, and every other link that I'm talking about is in the episode description, so it's all there. Go and have some fun. Check it all out. Now, before we get stuck into 2022, Dave and I did, like I said, want to quickly touch on 2021 just to sort of put a little bow on that wherever we can. It is that time of year we try and get things done. We didn't get it done last year. Let's just quickly try and do things this year. So, Dave, I'm not sure exactly what you've got, but I've got my honourable mentions for international and Australian, and then my top 10. That's what I've put down for what I was going to go through in this one. But, Dave, whatever you want to go through from 2021, just to wrap that up, go for it.
Okay. So I've got 5 mentions. One of them's local. The rest are overseas. Mentions are, well, 2 of them are local, actually. Acolyte with Entropy, fantastic EP, album. Long song, so who knows. 12-Foot Ninja with Vengeance, which was fucking great. Dee Snider, Leave a Scar. Alice Cooper, Detroit Stories, and Jerry Cantrell with Brighton. That was a cool solo album. That was the mention. So we do the top 10s now, or do you want to stick to the mentions?
No, go for it. Oh, yep.
Okay, plowing through. Number 10, Mammoth. Matt Wolfgang Van Halen. Epica with Amiga. Pretty Reckless comes in at number 8 with Death by Rock and Roll, which was a fantastic album. The Ultimate in Prog Rock, Dream Theater with A View from the Top of the World came in at 7. Mastodon released a better album, Hushed and Grim.
Wow.
Local band Carmeria with Adavine, fantastic symphonic rock, metal, somewhere in between. The Mighty Iron Maiden with Senjutsu. Vintage Caravan with Monuments, fantastic album. The Mighty Eclipse with Wired. And, of course, the best album of 2021 is the self-titled album from Halloween. 7-piece, brilliance. Love it.
Yeah, it's hard. I can't argue with your list there. Actually, that's a really good list. I'm just going to say that's a pretty fucking good list. For mine, it's nowhere near as complete as I would like it to be because I'm actually, since we started doing things via this platform and all that sort of stuff, I ended up getting a new computer. And because my old computer is just shitting itself, transferring notes from one to the other has been problematic. So my things like having Eclipse Wide, I would probably have considered them, but didn't even have them because I just hadn't had that. I couldn't find all my notes in the detail I wanted to find it. It's all over the joint between two computers. But I did come up with what I think is a pretty good list overall, even those things said. So for international bands, so, overseas bands, we do 5 honorable mentions normally. So for my overseas stuff, I did Ord and Ogan with Final Days. That was a really cool concept record that was released in 2021. We also found a band that I hadn't heard before in Moonspell, and their album Hermitage was brilliant. That was a stunning release from last year. One that was probably close to the Song of the Year contender for last year, but the album is from The Treatment. They had I think it's a second album with the current singer, with Waiting for Good Luck, and the song Wrong Way was just brilliant. So that made it stick in my mind as well, but that was a fantastic release. Rounding on my mentions, we had Miles Kennedy with The Ides of March. I think he is a fantastic vocalist and stunningly good songwriter, and that album is fantastic. But also a bit of a twist in Chevelle with Neratius. That was a really cool album from last year as well. Heading back onto home soil for the Australian stuff, I have El Colosso with Forgotten Ancestors. That was a cracker. Sun Traders released an EP called Dark Matter, which some of those songs are still with me all this time on, and I just heard as soon as you see the title, you hear the songs. That's a mark of a great release. That's a great EP. Cicada Stone, we've got a lot of love for those boys, have had for quite some time. Their album Cold Chamber was their second album. They've got a third one coming, I think, in 2023, but that album is fantastic. If you like your 90s music at all, get on that one. Also, another favourite of ours for a few of us amongst here at the show is Temptress with their latest album, Ritual Warfare. That was a cracker in 2021. I believe they've got another one coming in 23 as well. And then finally, the Vendettas had their long-awaited second album or third album. I'm not sure how it all works, but it was the Vendettas 3. I think it was the third album, sorry. But that was a cracking one, and there were some good songs in that one as well. Digging from that, going through to my top 10, coming in at number 10 was Trucker Diablo out of Northern Ireland, a band that was the first band to get on to the show from the very, very early days. They were the first ones to reach out and go, hey, can we send you some stuff? And we reviewed them, I think, in the first ever episode we did. But yeah, Trucker Diablo, Tail End of a Hurricane. Their new album was fantastic. I'm looking forward to more music from them soon as well. A surprise packet for me last year coming in at number 9 was Thunder with All the Right Noises. That album was absolutely fantastic. I know that it wasn't as loved by others on the show as it was by me, but that was just such a good release. And they released another great album this year too, so they just keep going from strength to strength. Coming in at number 8, Eat the Damn Orange, Taking the Pith. I know that we're a bit of a homeboy crowd here. But I've actually gone so far as to put their album out on a tile here in a bit of a different twist, just for those playing along at home. But Eat the Damn Orange, Taking the Pith. I know it's quote unquote, you're not supposed to, do the home thing, but that album is fantastic. I love it. And it doesn't matter that 2 of the boys are in the show with us here. Like, I just think that's genuinely, if it wasn't, that they would be in the top 10. That album is stunningly good. I really did enjoy it quite a lot. And Glory Hole Nightmare and so many other songs. It's just there's this wit that Brendan has when he writes the lyrics, which just makes those songs stay with you. So if you haven't checked it out, please do. I reckon it's absolutely fantastic. Coming in at number 7 is Evergrey with Escape of the Phoenix, another band that just basically, for me, doesn't release a dud album, and it's always in the top 10s whenever they do release one. So that's another one from them. And then coming in number 6 was the final release from, as we know it anyway, from 12 Foot Ninja. Their album Vengeance is an absolutely stunningly good release. If you haven't checked out 12 Foot Ninja, you are missing out, and that's a good place to start as anyway. I think Vengeance is if it is their swan song for all time, then that is one hell of a way to go out. Coming in at number 5, I have Accept with Too Mean to Die, probably my metal album of the year, like this straight up, sort of thrashy kind of side of things. That album is fantastic. Coming in at number 4 is Mammoth Wolfgang Van Halen, same as you, Dave. That album, that self-titled album, is one hell of a debut record. And if you haven't checked it out yet, you're missing out. There was a deluxe edition released this year. Go and check it out. There's a few bonus tracks on that one too, which are really, really good. So yeah, highly recommend that one. Number 3, Melbourne band Acolyte Dave with Entropy. I loved that album. That was a top 10 contender as soon as I heard it. I couldn't. That is my top-ranked Aussie release for the year. That is the best one from the homegrown scene that I just could not get enough of. I've loved it from start to finish and still do today. Coming in number 2, Dave. Number 2, Halloween with the self-titled album. That is an impressive release. To get that lineup to work, to get the sense of fun to come through when you're listening to it, like you can see it in the Pumpkins Unite video how much fun they're having, but to have it actually come through in the album itself is rarely done as well as it is on this one. So Halloween, the self-titled album, the band is well into the back together, and I can't wait to hear what they do next. That was fantastic. But my number 1 album from the year last year was The Pretty Reckless with Death by Rock and Roll. I could not stop listening to that one, and I still put it on regularly when I get a chance to now. It's not the heaviest thing out there at all, but just the range of emotive storytelling, and then the softer stuff and the heavier stuff. It's a perfect ultimate hard rock record. If you like melodic hard rock, which has a lot of balls, a bit of grunge to it, and some fantastic female vocals. I know that people might, think of Taylor Momsen from TV shows and stuff and think she hasn't got it. She's definitely got it. I can't wait to hear what they do next. She is fantastic, and the whole band around her is just as good. So Pretty Reckless, Death by Rock and Roll is my number 1 album for 2021. So there you go. Did you have any other thoughts on that, Dave, or we covered you off as well?
Yeah, 2021 was awesome, and 2022, we're getting to that soon, but damn, there's been a lot of good albums in the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. When you try and wrap it all up, it's very hard to put it all together like that. It's funny because you go through, I went through whatever notes I could find, and even just thinking about things that I didn't have on my list, like Eclipse that you mentioned there, I was like, fuck, there were so many good albums in 2021. But the trouble is that as we move now into our top 10s for 2022, you're going to find the same problem. I'll get to it in a second when we get to any thoughts we've got, but just the amount of albums that we've covered this year, again, as always, it's always a lot, but we covered a lot, and there were some fantastic releases. No one was going through my notes on this year, and there were so many we didn't do. So many we didn't get around to. It was just like, oh my God, there is so much music released in 2022. But Dave, let's break the ice with you. Your thoughts on the year that was 2022, if you have any.
Yeah. Once again, spoiled for choice. There have been so many albums out this year. We could have done a top 10 halfway through and then another one at the end, and there still would have been plenty left over.
Yeah.
Putting these lists together is always hard, but I think this has been the hardest ever. We've had great young bands releasing new music, and then, of course, the classics released a lot of great stuff as well. We had new stuff from Ozzy, Slash, Hammerfall, Blind Guardian, and then younger bands like The Who and Cruel Intentions. None of them even made my mentions list because I just couldn't fit them in. I could not fit any of them in. I'm just like, I fucking love that Ozzy album, and the Slash album was great, and the other ones I mentioned, just like I can't fit everyone in. I was thinking of messaging you and saying, can we make the honourable mentions 10 instead of 5?
I was thinking the same thing, actually.
Yeah, and then I would still have stuff I couldn't fit in. The top 10s was hard enough, and it's just like, I put that in the mentions. I put that. It's just no. I did it, and I just left it. I'm just like, I'm done. Because, there's so much cool stuff. It was sport for choice. We didn't cover everything that was released this year, and it's been an interesting year because there's been releases from bands that I usually don't have any time for, and I've actually been impressed by what they've done. So we'll get to that a bit later on with some of the surprise stuff. But yeah, it's certainly been a great year. Cool.
All right. Let's for everyone playing along at home, excuse my being nasally. I'm still getting over COVID, which is a pain in the ass. So that's why I'm very, very nasally at points tonight. So I do apologize.
Okay, Axel. That's cool.
Okay, here we go. There's Dave, the Axel fanboy. All righty. Jeff, let's go to you next. Have you got any thoughts on just generally speaking the year that was 2022?
On this year, well, spoiled for choice. 2022 was just an amazing year, like 2021. When I knew you guys were going to be doing 2021, just sort of like touching on a few things. Yeah. The one album that's for me stood out was Mastodon's Hush and Grim. That to me was just a stellar album. Yeah. And I've watched some documentary on it as well, the making of it and what they went through with them losing their manager, I think it was. So look, that to me is, if I had to pick one album from 2021, that would be it. But 2022 when you said, you know, you wanted to put a list together, I was like, how am I going to do this? Like, Dave, there's so many things that I couldn't even mention. You know, the list would be, I'd be here all night. The show would be about me, and, you know, you'd have to kick me off. So, yeah, I mean,
Hey, Dennis, you had the hair on before.
Yeah, well, that's it. I did. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll put the wig on, come back, and do another 10, just some random things. You know, guys, how you doing?
New version, mate.
Yeah. So I do have a list. I don't know if you want me to mention the list or not.
Not yet. We'll get to it later on.
Okay.
But
just to talk about it. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, exactly what Dave said. The list was just too vast. There was a lot of great stuff, and at the end of it, I had, you know, really had to cut things down. And yeah, I don't like doing that because, you know, it's almost like you're leaving out something that you should be mentioning, and you feel guilty about it. But you know, at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do. So yeah, it was a great year for music.
Always is. All right, Belle, let's get your thoughts on anything from 2021 and in 2022 in general. What have you got to say?
Well, we'll leave 2021 because I had not listened to any of those albums that either Dave or Andrew mentioned.
Were you writing things down
in a hole, or I don't know where I was, not listening to music.
You've got 20 albums to listen to now.
Yeah.
I was back in the 90s or something, according to my Spotify playlist. So thank you for changing that this year.
Nice.
So, look, I was actually quickly scrolling through all of the releases that came out this year, and I haven't listened to, you know, half as many as what I wanted to, and you know, where's the time? I don't remember there being so many releases in previous years. Is this normal, or was it
This is normal. This is
extra hot? So of note,
this is just for reference, Belle, this is about normal.
Wow, really? Okay, well, again, I've been in a hole or somewhere. So yeah, I'll have to try harder next year to keep up. I haven't listened to Megadeth. I haven't listened to Queensryche. No. I haven't listened to Lamb of God, Striper, Hailstorm. I know, Megadeth are one of my favourite bands, and I haven't got around to listening to that album this year. Like, I just...
Okay, Conrad.
So there's still time, though. We're not there yet. 21st. As
yeah, you got like 10 days, one a day, like, to get through.
So I will make it my, you know, my chore. Well, it shouldn't be a chore, but I will definitely listen to all of those albums, or maybe most of them, starting with Megadeth, Conrad, before the end of the year.
Okay.
Anything else you wanted to add there, or is that?
Not in terms of music, but
cool.
Just in terms of general 2022, I feel like we've got back to possibly a new normal in terms of life, in terms of, you know, we've come out on the other side of COVID and we sort of know what we're doing, I guess, and business as usual as a population, which I think is great. Compared to what we were doing at the start of the year, I think, things are a lot more settled and we're just getting on with it. So that's how I see 2022.
Nice. Cool. Well done. There you go. Belle's first cab off the rank. Well done. All righty. Let's get Conrad in. Give us your thoughts and try to be nice on the Megadeth stuff if you can.
Look, 2021, there was three albums in particular for 21 that probably all three are on par with one another, and I don't like the bashing of this album. I think it was unjustified, and that's Sinjitsu by Iron Maiden. I think it was a decent record. Yeah. It was a decent record and didn't deserve the hate that it got.
No, it didn't deserve it.
No, it didn't deserve the what do you call that?
Backlash.
Backlash. That's the word I'm looking for. Backlash that it got. Volbeat, of course, Servant of the Mind, and of course Mastodon's Hushed and Grim.
Nice.
So all three are on par. Great records. Yeah.
Nice.
So those were my three tops for 2021. As for 2022, just a bit annoyed with all the cancellations of fucking tours. Just, fuck. You buy concert tickets for it's just and I got to a point where I'm like, I ain't buying concert tickets because I'm going to wait and see. I'm just going to wait and see how this unfolds. And so that's what it was like. So that was a little annoying. As far as albums for 2022, I think it was so hard to come up with ones that I chose over another because there were so many great. But I narrowed it down to four albums for 2022, which were all equal. I couldn't separate one from another and go, that one's better than that one. They're all brilliant for different reasons, and so they've all come in first place, equal first place for different reasons, and that is Porcupine Tree.
Oh, hang on, not yet.
Okay, not yet. Oh, shut up. I'm sorry.
There's a later on.
Off the side with you. That's it. Get off.
There's your teaser, though, folks.
That's your teaser.
Later on.
Right. So yes, 4 albums for 2022 that are brilliant. Cut.
This is brilliant. Well, as always, from my point of view, it's another great year. We've actually, as been said before, there's been so much we didn't get to, but there's a lot we did do as well at the same time. So it's just one of those things where it's been another fantastic year for music. It always is. Belle was saying before she's not sure if this is normal. This is actually... It is pretty normal. I would even say that compared to some previous years, Dave, this might even be a bit of a down year in terms of quantity of releases.
Yeah, could be.
Could be.
Obviously, you two listen to probably a lot more music than perhaps me and
probably
Belle
about 250 to 300 albums a year.
Shit.
On average.
I mean, that's a lot. I mean, I go to a lot of shows. I go to a lot of gigs. That's probably my thing is going to gigs than listening to records. But yeah.
For me, the average is somewhere about 400 albums a year.
Wow.
Because I'm here week to week and cover all the content as the producer. So for me, it's about 400 albums a year as the average.
Well, you're in a position you have to.
I'm missing
so that's kind of where it is.
Have to do it. Yeah, have to do it.
But that's, there's a mix of old and new in that because of the special episode content as well. But generally speaking, it's been a really good year for new music as well as discovering some old classics too. But the thing about the last 2 years in particular, but this year is a bit of a focus. We've made some changes to the content, like we changed the way we stream things. We've done some change behind the scenes for other uses for how we do our content. And the changes have actually been pretty good. Dave and I have discussed it a few times now that it seems to be resonating well with the audience. People are enjoying it and getting involved in the conversation a bit more, which is cool. It's growing stuff for us. And it's been fun, which is, I've been doing this for a long time, so has Dave, and to make sure it's fun is probably the most important thing. It's been another fun year. It's been good. There's some stuff we've got in the vault which we haven't released yet, which I'll get to as soon as I can. As always with the last couple of years, it's not without its challenges, but it's been a really productive, fun, entertaining year that's actually brought some new friends and family together in what we're doing here with things like this tonight, and also just across the board with the commentary online and all that sort of stuff as well. So it's been a really good year. We've had some changes, some growth. We'll do some other new stuff, in the new year as well. But no, I'm looking forward to how things are going, because I think we've just found we never lose the groove completely, but we always just keep finding ways to change it a bit and make it more interesting and spice it up. And I think we've got a good little recipe for a while to come yet. So looking forward to seeing what we do next. But for those that are new and for those that are old, thanks for tuning in and thanks for sticking with us. And we'll get through another top 10s for the year, starting off with our first category for this year's list of 2022 releases. Now, I'm just going to interject at points here because I have stuff from other Patreon supporters of ours that have written notes on either a private YouTube video or on our little Patreon post. So I've got notes from Rowan and from, also known as Sumaleth on the YouTube ones, but also Darren chimed in with some stuff in some of these categories as well. So I'm just going to go through and we'll see who's got what and just have some fun with it all. But first one tonight for the 2022 releases is the best new discovery you made in 2022 that was not released in 2022. Now, this is a little nod to things because we do things like the Patreon Choice Classic album every week, which is an older album, at least 10 years old. Those are. We do our different special episodes which have a theme or a particular band in mind when we do those ones. So because we cover not just new stuff, there's also old stuff in there. We want to give a shout out to something that we found for the first time in this year that wasn't released in 2022. And Dave, what did you go with?
It would have to be the entire discography of Armored Saint. We did the special earlier this year. We reviewed probably 2 albums, the newest one, and then, I can't remember the other one, but the one that came out in 91. And those were 2 fantastic albums. So being able to go over their catalogue of music was astounding to think how overlooked I've been to that band. But that's just one of those bands that should have been a lot bigger and sadly wasn't. And if you haven't heard Armored Saint, definitely get on them. And I'm going to sneak one other one in because Kissing Dynamite released an album this year, and I like that enough to go back and listen to their entire discography, and they've got some great stuff too. So those 2 bands are fantastic. Well worth checking out.
Nice. You were going to say something there, Conrad?
Sorry. I saw Armored Saint out here. They played at 170 Russell. 170 Russell. They played. I think it was with Striper. Was it a show with Striper?
That sounds right.
It was with Striper, and Striper were phenomenal. They're amazing. They're incredible. And I would strongly recommend anyone anyone that has an issue with Striper, I say shut your mouth, go see them, and you'll be absolutely floored.
Nicky,
how brilliant they are. Yeah. They are just on another level. It's like, oh my fucking God, the musicianship's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I also will say this. I'm sorry you like Armored Saint. I'm not going to bash on Armored Saint, but I will say Alarum blew Armored Saint off the stage.
Alarum are a great band.
Alarum blew Armored Saint off the stage that night. I'm sorry, Alarum stole the... Well, don't say stole the show. I'd say that Striper stole the show, but Alarum blew Armored Saint away. Mind you, I found Armored Saint incredibly boring, and I don't like John Bush as a singer. So there you are. I think he's not a good singer. I did not like him in Anthrax. I did not like him in Anthrax. I will give him this. I will give him Sound of White Noise. He gets Sound of White Noise. I'll give him that. That album's fantastic. I'll give him that. After that, he bores the shit out of me. Sorry. There you are.
Dave mortified.
Dave's having tentacles about to come out of Dave's head.
This is wow. Steve
coming out of his ears.
This is how I feel when you talk about Russians.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand your pain now, Jeff. I get it.
Now you know what it feels like, Dave.
Wow, we're doing well. All right. I do want to keep it moving. This is fun, but I'm going to get moving.
Back on track. Sorry.
All good. Belle or Jeff, is there anything you want to add, or Connor for the matter, is there anything that you found in 2022 that wasn't released in 22 that was something that jumped out to you? Has anyone else got anything there?
Yeah.
Kronos. Go on.
Kronos.
Go on, Jeff. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I found them obviously through you guys, the whole Dead City Ruins.
Oh, nice.
The whole back catalog. Love them.
Nice.
Very nice. And I've obviously got you guys to thank for that. So, yeah.
Sweet.
More than welcome. That's what it's all about. That's the point.
Yeah. So there you go. So, they've just, I thank you for getting me onto them. They're great band.
Most welcome. Our absolute pleasure. That's cool. Belle, did you have something there? Sorry.
Well, yes, and it's a little left field, but I discovered Deep Purple this year.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so I've started collecting vinyl again, and with the intention of collecting collecting all the original albums of things I used to listen to when I was a teenager. All my favorite albums that I had on like a dub cassette or it was cassettes back then, not even CDs. Yeah. So no, not 8-track. A friend of a friend's copied dub of a vinyl. So I've been collecting those, and I came across a Deep Purple album. I think it was not Machine Head, In Rock. And I absolutely loved it, and I've just started buying any Deep Purple vinyl I can because they're great. And why have I not listened to them before now? So
have you gotten to the David? You got to the David Coverdale era yet?
I love David Coverdale. I think he's great. I've got a couple of the albums with him as a vocalist, and I think he seemed like a natural progression.
Burn and Come Taste the Band.
Burn.
Yep.
And Come Taste the Band. Fantastic.
Yeah. So that's my discovery, and I'm still.
Well, that's a good
more
discovery. That's a really good discovery. Yeah.
This is I don't know if you had anything more you wanted to add there, Conrad, or have you?
Frightened to now. No, there's a band called
say the right thing.
Yeah, there's a band. Has there been any bands that I've discovered? I think it was last year I discovered a band called Kronos.
Okay,
CHRONUS. They're from Finland, I think. For fans that like Ghost, you'll love this. You'll love this. They've got a similar sound to Ghost. I can't get into Ghost because of their satanicness. That puts me off. But these guys, a little bit more metal. Metal, but it's certainly a retro sound. They got this retro kind of sound, and it's like classic 70s heavy metal.
Nice.
But done with today's production. You've got today's production, but a classic 70s heavy metal sound. And I can't get enough of them, and I can't wait till they release another record. I'm like, I think they got two albums out from Finland, and I was just like, these guys, CHRONUS.
Kronos.
Kronos. And I think you guys are going to like. I think for the show, as in for the hard rock show, I think you guys are just going to go. This band's the shit for you guys. Like it's going to touch. It's going to. A lot of people are going to love it that are on this show. A lot of people, if not the hosts, not only the hosts. I think the audience. The audience are going to dig it too. I think it's going to translate with a lot of people. Are going to go like, yeah, this is good shit. And they're a really good band. So that was the band that's most impressed me in the last couple of years, actually. There hasn't been anyone that's come along that's made me go, oh, my God, wow. But they have made me go, wow. And that's hard. That's hard to do for me because I'm a grumpy old fuck. A grumpy, opinionated old fuck who's set in his ways. And that's what happens when you get to a certain age as a 70s, 78, a metalhead after 30 something years. You become a bit opinionated and a bit set in what you like. But these guys flick my switch. Yeah.
Nice.
As Dave will discover, no doubt.
Yeah.
Cool.
I can't tell guys who will flick my switch, but whatever turns you on.
What I'm saying is you'll end up a bit like me in time. Give it a few more years.
I've been a metal fan for 30 years. I know exactly what you're talking about.
All right, there you are. Fair enough.
I was a metal fan when you guys were sperm. Come on.
Yeah.
We're accelerating at a rate of listening to albums that faster than you guys do. So we're catching up in volume. That's what we're catching up on.
Yeah.
Dave, you discovered Uriah Heep this year.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
There you go.
I knew of the band, but I only really listened to them this year.
Now, they weren't a new discovery for me. I hadn't listened to them heaps, but I had listened to them before. On this one, for me, just quickly though, Deep Purple is a band we have never done a special episode on, so we'll have to do that at some point. I don't know where or how, but that's what we haven't actually. There are so many.
That's unbelievable, really.
Yeah, in
there's a lot of specials we haven't done.
Yeah, it's one of the ones we've bookmarked. We know we should do it. We haven't got around to it yet. So, yeah, Bill, when it comes to finding bands, there are so many bands that Dave and I, in particular, over the years have gone, we should know these bands because there's always those bands everyone talks about. but there are so many going around. It's like eventually you find it, and just it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there, just as long as you get there, basically, as far as that's what I say on those sorts of things when people go, how have you not listened to that? It's like, well, because there's a lot of music out there in the world. That's how.
Exactly. Exactly.
Shitload of music.
Exactly.
Yeah. But for mine, for actually, I've got one here from Rowan. He gave us his first. There was his best new non-2022 discovery was Buried Alive, particularly their albums Fuego and the Mixtape. So a band that, again, speaking of bands I'm not familiar with, that's what I got to check out. That's Buried Alive. It's one of the ones that Rowan really enjoyed over this year, which is cool. Nice touch there from Rowan. For me personally, we didn't end up getting to sit down and film it. We're planning to do it at some stage, Dave. We're going to do a Beatles versus Stones. We just picked 5 albums as a put head to head and had a bit of fun with it. But just because I've listened to both bands before, but because I always was more familiar with the Beatles than the Stones, but just going through those select sort of microcosms of the catalogue was actually a nice little sort of eye opener. It's just as the talent and the songs they've got. Just they're not strict. I enjoy them, but they're not my go-to kind of a thing. But just sitting down, actually going through the albums from cover to cover was just a nice little appreciation process. But so that's like a mention for me. But for my actual pick, much to Conrad's dismay, it's going to be the same as Dave, Armored Saint. Just the discography is absolutely fantastic. So there we go, Conrad. Stick that in your pipe hole. But I just they were just going through that. They've got a stunningly consistent body of work. Now, that means that if you don't like one album, you're probably not going to like any of them. But if you do like one, you are going to like their entire body of work. So if you hear anything from that band, pretty quickly you'll know whether you like them or not. And
I have one of their cassettes, or cassette. I think it's got like a picture of like a statue of a woman's body on like a statue in a frame, in a picture frame.
Okay.
Symbol of Salvation.
That would be it.
Symbol of Salvation is a great album.
It's a great album. Yeah.
All right, I'll give it another track. All right, I'll give it another go.
Avoid the one album I would say avoid is Delirious Nomad. Avoid that album, but everything else.
Everything else, all right, I'll give it a crack.
Delirious Nomad wasn't. But
Just the newest one.
Is
Punch in the Sky.
Yeah.
Punch in the Sky is fantastic.
Punch in the Sky is They got some
March
great
albums. Even the first album was great. March of the Saints was really good.
March of the Saints was pretty good. The second one was a bit of a letdown by comparison, but they started off strong. Even the little 3-track EP before that was fucking great.
That was good.
Yeah. Because they went through like a tragedy. Like they lost their founding guitar player very early on. Just before Symbol of Salvation, I believe, he passed away. Yeah.
And you can see why, when you go through the discography of that band, you can see why there's such a crossover with the Bay Area thrash kind of thing, because you had Anthrax, but also Metallica wanted John Bush in that as well. So there's a lot of when you listen to what Armored Saint did on their albums, you can hear why. Like, it's a shame they weren't bigger, but and they're still going. They're not done, but they should have been bigger than they were. But at the same time, you can also see why they were sort of headhunted by the bands as well, because the talent was certainly there. When you listen to the whole discography from start to finish, you really do get a different appreciation for that band, what they've done. So yeah, Armored Saint for me was like the discovery of the year that wasn't released in 2022.
Wow,
right. Moving on, though, to one that was a new discovery that we had that was from the year 2022. So, Dave, what is your discovery? Actually, I'll go first. I'll go with Rowan. Rowan's best new discovery from 2022 was Michael Romeo's solo albums. He specifically said War of the Worlds Part 2. That's one I unfortunately haven't got to sit down in depth and listen to properly. But number one, War of the Worlds Part 1 from a few years ago, absolutely amazing release. So, yeah, Michael Romeo's solo work is fantastic. So I agree with Rowan on that one. But, yeah, that's Rowan's pick for that one. But, Dave, what about you?
I'm going with The Warning. They are a fantastic young band from Mexico. Their single Money got me as soon as I heard it. Listened to that single over and over. And then when I got around to listening to the album, the whole thing is remarkably consistent. And I think it's their third album out. So they're a very promising young band. If you haven't heard them, definitely check them out. But, yeah, great band, The Warning.
Definitely. Cool. All right, let's do the rounds quickly. So, Conrad, have you got anything there that was a new discovery this year from this year, or?
I think discovering the Ugly Kings,
nice.
Local band, just going out and having discovered the Ugly Kings. I was just like, that's it. I became like a religious
Great band.
became a religious supporter, and just every gig I'd be like, that's it, I'm going to see these guys every gig. And I've said to my mates, I've said to my friends, you've got to see this band, these guys are fucking incredible, they're best thing to come out of Melbourne in years. So I think best thing to come out of Melbourne in a long time. And probably one of my favorite Australian bands. I just like, these guys are the shit, and I hope they go far. I really do. They got to get to Europe and be on that festival circuit. I hope they get it. I do, because they deserve
they're signed over there now, so fingers crossed. Yeah,
I hope they get it. So that was my discovery for 2022, I guess. Just a local band.
Good. That's a good pick, though, man. I love that band. We've loved that.
So
band.
do I. So do I. This great band.
Pickup. Yeah.
And they appeal. I mean, that's the sign of a good band, is a band that can appeal to a wide cross section of people.
Anyone can listen.
And if you can do that and be successful at it and connect with all, you got the metalheads here, you got the other people that might not be as hard and heavy or whatever. You got thrashers, you got death metal heads, whatever. All different types of rock fans that are there, and different types of walks of life and all those people, and yet everybody's in that room going, fuck, this band's unreal. And that's great to be able to do that, from all different walks of life.
Great stage presence too. Great stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Live, it's something else. They're fantastic.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice pickup. Nice. All right, Belle, anything there from you?
Definitely. Nice. Heat. Oh my God. I had not heard this band. And then their single Nationwide got released, and you did a review, which was the first time I'd heard Heat, and it was a banger. It just I was hooked from then on. Hanging out for the album. The album was everything I hoped it would be. They toured in September.
Right.
They came. They've been and gone. I didn't see them. I've heard only good things about their show, which makes it worse that I didn't see them. So I'm not. If they come back, I'll definitely go and see them. But anyway, I've been sort of going through their back catalogue, and I just absolutely love them. I think they are so good. They don't have a bad song. I'll just have Heat on sort of randomizer, and there is not one song that comes on that I dislike. So
where are they from?
Thank you.
Where are they from?
They're from Sweden.
They're Swedish.
Yes.
Right. Yes. Okay. All right. I'll have to check these guys out.
They do have one
very throwback to the late 80s kind of vibe.
Okay.
Bit Skid Rowy.
All right. I like that stuff. I like that stuff.
Done so well. Yeah. Very.
It's not one of those bands that you were saying pretty much anyone can listen to it, and that pretty much anyone can enjoy what they do. It's very well done.
Right. Okay. I'll check that out for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Upbeat, energetic. Yeah, love it. Absolutely love it.
Nice. Good pick, Belle. I'm very happy with that one. Nice. All right, Jeff. What about you?
Well,
just grab my charger.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm
getting my charger.
You're charging. Well, this is a band that I knew about and I liked, so it kind of doesn't count, but I'm going to say it anyway. But what happened was I ended up sort of rediscovering them, and they released an album in 2022, and it was actually it was so good that when I was writing down my list tonight, I was actually considering very seriously of actually including this as my number one album of 2022, but it didn't end up there. So it's going to be my rediscovering. The band is called, I'm sure you've heard of them, Fozzy, and the album is Boombox.
Nice. Cool.
What an album. I
fucking love that album.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris Jericho, he's just a legend, but he's a little opinionated and he's a little political. He likes Donald Trump. I won't hold that against him, but he's half Canadian too, so I got to give him, But I had they went off my radar. Fozzy, just kind of went off my radar the last few years, and I just picked up one of their albums randomly and thought, okay, it's a new album, new release. I'll give it a listen, and I was just. It's so good. If you haven't heard Boombox, Get onto it. Conrad, Fozzie Boombox.
Yeah.
Okay, it's another one.
Everyone's taking notes.
I'm writing down. Okay.
Fozzie Boombox. Seriously, like I said, it was almost my number one album of the year.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right.
I got a lot of listening to. So you get a couple of albums here to catch up on.
Cool. All right. Well, for my one, I've got a few mentions here. One is Set Your Sail. It's a band out of, I think, Germany. They're an alt sort of metal band, but just Nightfall was the album. That was a really interesting. When an album is different and the female vocalist is able to switch from clean to brutal, like so well. I just loved her tone and approach on things. So that was an album that sort of just stayed with me. So Set Your Sails with Nightfall. One that was a lot of fun. This is more of a memory than an album choice per se, but Party Cannon with Volumes of Vomit. That was just such a fun night when the band tuned in to watch our review live.
I canned their album and then they tuned in.
I know. Brilliant night.
Oh, that was great.
That was one of the best nights we've had this year. That was fantastic. So Party Cannon, Volumes of Vomit. If you don't like it extreme, don't bother. But it was just fucking nuts. That was something special for me. Now, another one for me that's a bit different, actually, another classic band that I haven't really checked out until this year was Nazareth. Their album Surviving the Law was an absolutely belting release. And for me, that just put this whole that band and their discography on my radar. So that's not mentioned too. Wow. Nazareth with Surviving the Law. They're going to get more mentions later on, but that was a fantastic release this year. And another mention too, which we didn't get around to sitting down to do a review on, but Hangman's Chair. I think they're out of France, if I'm correct. But they do this dark atmospheric rock, which is really fucking impressive. And there's a couple of clips from the new album, which, both studio based, but also there's some live tracks as well. And they're just fantastic. I couldn't get enough of this album. So the album is called Aloner. They are just stunningly good. So Hangman's Chair, Aloner, that's a new discovery from this year. I hadn't even heard of them at all, and they came through. That is something special. But my actual pick for this one, outside of the mentions, is actually an Australian band, and it's a band that I had heard of. We got the emails, and someone was really pushing for these guys to get a review early on in the year. We got around to it and went, oh my God, what a fucking album. And that is the Neptune Power Federation with Le Demande de l'Amour. That was a really fucking impressive release. I just enjoyed that one from cover to cover. And it's just one of those things. There's a bit of art to it, but still plenty of balls about it. And it's just something a bit different. It's a slightly eclectic little mix, but it's just incredibly well done. And it's hard to pull off what they've done in such a way that's done so well as they've done it. So, yeah, the Neptune Power Federation with Le Demande de l'Amour, that is my actual pick for my best new discovery of 2022 that was released within 2022. So there we go on that one. All righty. Let's get to the album artwork side of things here. So this is a bit of a tricky one. I'm not sure if anyone else has anything to add in this conversation outside of Dave and myself, but if you do, I'll do the round anyway. But Rowan actually chimed in on this one, which I was impressed with. So Rowan, well done. The best artwork from Rowan's point of view was Star One with the Space Metal 2022 reissue. So that's one from Rowan. Cool. That's a very cool album. So Space Metal from Star One, that is the reissue. That was the best artwork for Rowan. But also, I mentioned Darren at the top. Darren actually chimed in with a list of this one too, which is fucking impressive. So Darren's got a list of his top album covers in 2022. So Undeath, It's Time to Rise from the Grave is one. Creator with Hate Uber Alles. That's a very cool one. I'll actually pay that one. Shadow of Intent with Elegy. Then Fit for an Autopsy with Oh, What the Future Holds. And then finally Meshuggah with Immutable. And that's on the cracking album cover as well. So got a couple of little lists there from our from some Patreon supporters in Rowan and Darren. So awesome. Well done for chiming in there. Dave, what did you have on your list?
Yeah, I got 4. And I'm still not sure which one I'm going to pick for the one because they're all great. But I think I got one I'll go with. But the runners-up, Sabaton with The War to End All Wars. Yeah. And James Labrie with Beautiful Shade of Grey. I like the black and white and the colour. That was cool. Bloody Hammers have a cool album cover for Washed in Blood. But the one I'm going with is Ghost with Imperia. That's just really cool.
Nice. All right. Let's shake it up. Let's go to Bell first. Any artwork this year grab your attention or?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. I think Rammstein's cover art is hilarious.
Yeah.
I think I remember you saying that, was it Brian Adams took the photo
Yeah. Yep.
for that
Yep.
album
Yeah.
cover? I think going up
Yeah.
that, is that a real building? That
Yeah,
looks
it's
like
a real building. Yep.
Sort of looks like something. It's very phallic, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's Rammstein. So
very, very
Yes.
yes. So perfect. I thought that was great. I love it. Every time I look at it,
nice.
I giggle like a schoolgirl. And so Vermilion Eclipse by Zemblant, I think, is a really cool. So all of these are kind of spoiler alerts for my top 10, but anyway,
That's all right.
I've just spoiled the spoiler. So yep. So I think that's a really awesome dark metal cover. So Google it. It's very cool. If you don't know it.
Nice.
And Blonde Zombie, I think that was a Perth band, Cross-Eyed Lover, I think.
Yeah.
I remember they had a really cool sort of blonde zombie on their cover.
Yeah.
That was an excellent album cover. So yeah, those three I think are really really cool. But yeah, Ghost, I agree, is a good one too. I forgot about Ghost. Yeah.
Nice.
That's it.
Good choice. Very good choices. All right, Jeff, let's go to you next.
Yeah, actually, there's a couple here that were on Dave's list. Sabaton, the Award and the Awards. Yeah, great album cover. There's like 3 or 4 different versions of that, isn't it? They've got different, so which is kind of cool. Each one's slightly different. As well, Blind Guardian, the God Machine. That's a cool looking album. I like that. It's very, I don't know, there's something about it. It's demonic and yet it's not at the same time.
Yeah.
And an album that really I'll speak about later. But I like the album. I like the cover, which was Slipknot, The End So Far. I really like the cover of that. It's just a really cool, I don't know, they did it on a computer or it's like powders sort of mixing, and so I'm not sure how they did it, but it's cool. But it is very cool. And yeah, my album for number 1 album artwork of the year is Ghost in Para. Yeah, love it.
Cool. Conrad, any thoughts?
I'm going to be, artwork-wise, I don't know. I haven't really seen anything that's blown me away. That's made me go, oh, wow. Obviously, I like the cover for The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead. I think that's a pretty cool cover.
That is cool.
Yeah, that's probably would be my favorite album cover of the year so far. I'd say it's probably the best thing. Exactly. It's probably the best thing about the record. I'd say that will be the best thing about the record.
I certainly agree.
I'll go along with that.
Nice.
So, but yeah.
All right.
Indeed.
Nice. Well, for just I've actually got a tie at number 1. I couldn't split them in the end, but for my mentions, Rammstein with Zeit. I also really enjoy the album art on that one. Not for quite so much the giggle factor, but just how stark it is. Just it's very great. This tower stands in the middle, and you got the band members sort of along the side of it. It's just it's one of those ones that sort of jumps out for any number of for funny reasons or for more just artistic reasons. But I just enjoyed the artwork and something. It's a very well shot photo, which is the story behind it makes it an extra layer to it. But no, I just think it's a nice cover art. Shinedown, Planet Zero. I thought that album artwork was very cool too. It's got that. It's almost like the moon and the earth sort of split down the middle. I can't describe images very well, but yeah, I thought that was a very cool bit of artwork for that one. Very modern, very sleek, but very, very cool. And switching up a bit, I'm going to go with Bloodywood, the Indian band, with their album cover for Raksha. That was a nice little thing there. We had the sandy sort of or a dusty side of scene with like the elephant in the background. It was a nice little one there too. On from that, a band that we discussed very near the start of the year with the Ferryman, One More River to Cross. I thought that album artwork stayed with me the whole year. That was a really cool bit of artwork there. But also, same again, I mentioned Hangman's Chair before, and their artwork for the album Alona is just as good as the album itself, so I really did enjoy the one. But for my actual final tie, the winners of this one for me this year, one is actually an in-house band here at the show with Arcane Saints. This is Primal. There's something very simplistic, but also something very beautiful about the artwork, where it's got the almost black and white background with the colour streaks across the front, which is the sort of Melbourne traffic kind of setup. That was a very, very artistic way to do it. It's simplistic, but very well done. I really just enjoyed it. I think it's just a bit of artwork that jumps out and grabs your attention. But also, well, it's been mentioned a few times now, but Ghost Impera, it's hard to go past. Their artwork in general is pretty fucking good, but they really did knock it out of the park this year with that album artwork. So, yeah, that's another one from me in that one there as well. All righty. We'll do this next category, then we'll have a quick little break here. But let's do the live stuff now. So on to the best gigs or live shows for the year. Over the years in the past, we've done this one where your international bands and your local bands, so on and so forth. Now it's just a case of just do some mentions and then just sort of, pick your top one or two kind of thing for your favourite live show for the year. And Dave, as is traditional, we'll start with you. So what have you got?
Cool. I went to 3 shows this year. Would have gone to more, but lack of funds and time. But the local band that I saw, I actually met Conrad at this gig, first time in person, but Lagerstein. Got this T-shirt, got to meet a couple of members from the band, had a fantastic time. Pirate metal at its finest. If you're into a whole bunch of just drunken fun stupidity, it's great. But they're fantastic musicians, and just seeing fucking 6-7 people up on stage just sounding amazing with a cool, fun vibe from everyone's there for the same thing. It was a fucking great night. I can't wait to see that band again. Can't wait for new music from them, because damn, they were good. And as far as bigger shows go, it was a bittersweet, but last time seeing Kiss, always love seeing Kiss live, but knowing it's the last time. I'm not going to go on and on because I could. And of course, Guns N' Roses. If you want to see my epic half-hour review, it's online somewhere. Yeah, it's like 50% of our 4-hour stream we did. So I won't say any more, but yeah, Guns N' Roses and Kiss live and Lagerstein. So I had a good year.
Yep. Cool. I did get one from Rowan here, just adding to the list here. So an honourable mention goes to Future Static, who impressed as Ginger's opening act. So that was a cool one there. I remember Rowan, I think it was Rowan in the Discord chat, was like hoping to get there in time. But
I remember that.
Yeah, but made it in the end, and yeah, so he's put an honourable mention to Future Static as the opener for Ginger. But the best gig for the year, as far as Rowan was concerned, was Ginger. Now I've heard nothing but good things, but I didn't get to go there myself. But I heard nothing but good things about it. So yeah, well done for that one. You impressed Rowan enough to make it his gig of the year. Belle, I'm not sure. Did you go to any gigs at all this year?
I would have if any bands actually played here. Actually, that's a bit unfair. Psychroptic played here. Yeah. I didn't know about it at the time, but I think they only played here because they're from Hobart. Otherwise, no one comes to Hobart. So sadly, no, I have nothing to report there.
That's all good. Let's go to Jeff next. I'm pretty sure Conrad's got a few there, but Jeff, what did you get out at all this year?
Well, I would have. I would love to say that I went to a band. I had a ticket. To go see a band. And then on the day of the show, I was just like, you know what? CBF. I don't care that I spent $300 on the ticket. I gave the ticket away. It was Guns N' Roses. I didn't go.
Wow. Dave is dying inside now.
Hey,
I would have gone. I would have gone.
You guys remember a couple of weeks before that last time I was on the show, I said, hey, I got a ticket. Anybody wants it? Nobody said a word. And I just could not be fucked going. I gave the ticket to my roommate. I didn't charge him for it, and it was just, he said, here you go, Merry Christmas. So
fuck.
I'm What's that? I've never seen them. I wanted to go. I really did, but it was just like, I was just like, you know what? If it had been maybe any other era, like you had COVID, and there was just so many things. And when it actually came around to like leading up to the thing, I was like, should I go? Should I not go? One of my other friends was like, we were going to go to dinner. You know, it was all planned. Everything was, you know. And then on the day, I said, plans have changed. He's like, what? I said, I'm not going. What? So I'm just giving the ticket away. I've signed it over on the Ticket Tech thing. And I didn't go. So I would love to say, yeah, I had a great show, great time.
You missed out, man. You missed out.
I know, I did.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
I was going to pay $500. I was going to pay. I almost fucking was tempted. Tempted to spend $500 on a ticket.
It was a good ticket too. It was when I bought it. It was $289, I think. So that's back in 2020. I bought it. You know.
Wow.
I was almost looking. I was looking at tickets online, and they were like $500. I was almost about to buy one. I was very tempted.
It's such a good show. So good.
I'll enjoy your review. Let's put it that way. I'll watch it. I'll enjoy your review.
Hopefully, I'll catch them in Hyde Park in London.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
If you do, you get something signed. You get signed for Jeff, and you can send it to me. For Jeff, sorry you missed out. Here you go. You fucking loser.
All right. So let's see if Conrad's gotten over his shock. What are your favorite gigs for the year?
There was a few gigs. I go to a lot of gigs, so I try and go to as many gigs as I can. I think DAD just recently. DAD was fantastic. They were such a great performance. It was really good showmanship. You know, really good entertainers. The whole band were entertaining. That was great. That was at Max Watts just recently. Before that, just recently, Ailstorm at the Northcote Theatre. Great venue, great atmosphere, brilliant venue. So yeah, that was another cracker. And like Dave mentioned earlier on, Lagerstein at the Northcote Social was a good night with Witchgrinder. That was a cracker.
Yeah, that
was really good fun. It was really good fun. So nice atmosphere. Kiss, Rod Laver. They were great. Audience were fucking awful. Audience were terrible. They pissed me off. They really pissed me off. The audience was like this, golf clap. It was like, oh, fuck off.
Wake up, you old people.
Yeah, and honestly, like, you could tell Gene and Paul were getting pissed off about it, you know? It was like, oh, this is embarrassing. So that was a bit of an annoyance, but they were good. Ripper Owens at the corner. That was amazing. Ripper Owens at the corner was a kick-ass gig. That was really good. Did lots of classic Priest, lots of classic Dio, you know, Rainbow, Dio, and Priest, and interwoven. You know, interwoven throughout the evening. That was a kick-ass show. That was really good. Yeah, so those were my top picks.
Cool.
And, of course, Ugly Kings. Every opportunity I get to see them, I'm like, yes! It's a kick-ass. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
Those were both shows.
Well done. Now, unlike others, I don't get out to many gigs. I did get to a couple this year, though. One was seeing It the Damn Orange near the start of the year, which was a very good show. They're always a good fun. Tash is, if you haven't seen that band live, Tash is just the world's best pocket rocker. She's fantastic to watch live, and the rest of the band just sort of try and keep up with her, basically, and it's always fun to watch them do their thing. So they're a fun band live. Go and see them if you can. But the one for me that I have to do a review on at some point is I went to see the Horsehead show a few weeks back now as we do this, and that was a phenomenally good night. You had Row Jerry Crow, which features Paul Wassine, opening the night up, which was a nice touch on things while the dog tries to get herself tangled in a chair. Fucking hell, Nala. Great Danes and stools don't mix, folks. So I went to see, like I was saying, Horsehead, but Row Jerry Crow opened it up, and Paul Wassine, if you've never seen Paul Wassine from the Jets when he's outside, he's good in the Jets, he's great in the Jets, but when you see him either do a solo acoustic stuff or with another project of his where he gets to be a bit more out the front, he's entertaining as fuck. He's got a wicked sense of humor, he's a lot of fun, and he's a phenomenal performer as well. So I just think that he's an entertainer through and through, and Row Jerry Crow, not for everyone. I don't think they're a band that's for all comers, but they are very, very good at what they do, and they were a lot of fun on the night, and actually a really good opener for Horsehead. Horsehead themselves, though, they blew me away. I hadn't seen them live before. I've heard so many people talk about this band for so many years, especially Jimmy, just rave about Horsehead on and on and on and go, okay, how good they are and how good they were. And getting to see them play live for the first time after we did the special on them a few years ago, and in fact, we interviewed them a couple of times as well. Just to see them in their element was just fantastic. The love in the room was fantastic. I'll do a full review at some point, but we had one person, just this little chick, just bouncing around to every song, singing every word at the top of her lungs. She had a great night, and just the whole room just felt fantastic. And there's nothing quite like it when the band's on and the room feels great, and it's packed but not stupidly packed. It just clicked. It's one of those nights where it just was a really special occasion. You don't know if it'll ever happen again, so I'm really glad I got to go. And yeah, that was easily, I mean, I don't go to any gigs, but even if I did go a lot, that'd be a hard one to beat because that was very, very impressive. That was Horsehead, their show in Melbourne just a few weeks ago now as we do this one. So that was a fantastic night out. All right. I did tease we'd take a little break. I might do one more category and then we'll do the break after this one. So let's quickly do one more now.
Can I just interject with something? I just wanted to mention a quick little story, if I can, about Paul Wassine. Okay.
Yeah.
So many years ago, I used to work about almost 20 years ago. I used to work at a servo in Seaford. Okay.
Oh yeah,
At Woolies, and I used to do midnights. We were 24 hours, and so we would lock the door at midnight, and you had to come to the serving window.
Yep.
And so I would be there, and I worked 5 nights a week. And there would be this guy that would come in, and he'd come to the window, and he'd maybe there, once or twice a week. And he would be driving this old piece of shit Kingswood or something, this old, really beat up thing. And he would always show up about 2:30 in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. And because I used to work from midnight until 7.
Yep.
And, him and I would just have a chat. We would just be chatting, have something, blah, blah, blah. And I just said to him one night, because he was just dressed, he just looked cool. And I was like, man, you look like you're sorry, as if this comes across affronting, I said, but you look like a rock star or something. And I said, you look like a guitarist or something in some band, because just the way he was dressed. And he chuckled and laughed, and he said, yeah, actually, I'm in a band. And I went, oh, right, you're a guitar player? And he said, no, I'm a bass player. I'm like, oh, okay. Are you in a local band or something? He goes, oh, kinda. I went, oh. He goes, you ever heard of the Screaming Jets? And I went, and it clicked because my wife has a CD collection. And I'm like, yeah, I've heard of the Screaming Jets. Why? He goes, yeah, that's my band. I founded that band. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And then I'm like, yeah, my wife just got the CD collection. He said, well, you go through that, open it up, look at the liners. You'll see a picture of me. My name's Paul, and I'm the bass player. I'm like, unfucking real. And then he came in a few more times. He got a kick out of that, and then he left, and then that was it. Yeah, that was a really cool moment. Yeah.
I can imagine him doing that as well because I've known him for a few years. I can imagine him doing that. He's a funny bloke.
Yeah, he is. Nice guy, real nice guy. I had no clue who he was, and I think maybe that's why he liked coming there, and he would I would be working, and he wouldn't be getting questions from people, whatever. It'd be that kind of night. Yeah, and I'm the bass player for the Screaming Jets. You heard of them? Yeah.
Well, just as a segue to that, the how I met Paul was I was at a gig. He was opening up on the night, doing a solo set, and he walked up to me and my wife and just said, "Hey, I love your show. If you'd like to have me on someday, let me know. I'd love to be a part of it." That's how I got to know. That's the first time I met Paul was. He walked up and asked if you want him, asked basically if he could have a chance to be on the show. I'm like, fuck yeah. It was a no-brainer, but he's just a really warm, genuine person, one of the really good guys out there in the music scene. So if you get a chance to say hi, Paul, or Paul, if you see this one, fucking love you to bits. You're a great bloke.
You maybe remember that, Paul. If you do see this show, you might remember that. Seaford North on the Nepean Highway. That was me.
All right. We'll have to tag Paul and let him know you got a chat in this one too. He's a great guy. I love Paul.
He's a nice guy. Yeah.
All right, quickly, one more category, then we'll take a quick break, and that is the biggest surprise packet of 2022. This is one of the ones that, you didn't go in there with a whole lot of expectations, but just something that just caught you by surprise. So, Dave, let's go to you. What was your surprise packet in 2022?
Yeah, I got a couple of runners up and then the main one, but a lot of these bands I didn't pay much attention to, and I found some great albums from them this year. One was Slipknot. I actually gave it, I think it was 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
thought,
surprising review from you.
Arguably the best thing they've ever done, except for a third lad lineup. It's still unnecessary, and the scratching bullshit does not need to be there, especially over guitar solos, because that can just fuck off and get in the bin. Without that shit, it's a good album. So get rid of a third of your lineup and you're a fucking great band. You just shoot yourself in the foot. Bullet for My Valentine surprised the hell out of me because I'm usually not into that emo shit, but that was actually a really, really good album.
Cool.
So like that. Machine Head, The Kingdom and the Crown.
Yeah,
Never really paid much attention to that band either, and that's a fantastic album.
Yep.
But my biggest surprise for the year, and I've actually become a big fan of this band, is Five Finger Death Punch with Afterlife. Fucking love that album. And I knew like a song or two from the band, but I never really paid that much attention. I didn't hate them because I know they're one of the bands everyone hates, if you ever love them or hate them. But yeah, after listening to a full album, I've gone slowly backtracking, and yeah, that album's fantastic. So that's definitely the biggest surprise of the year.
Cool. All righty, we'll quickly try and get through the rounds here. Conrad, anything catch you by surprise this year?
Not off the top of my head that I can just think of right now. It'll come to me. It'll come to me, but right now, no. Right now,
that's
I'm sorry.
all good.
I've got nothing. I'm sorry.
No, that's perfectly fine.
Bit unprepared. Sorry.
That's all good. I gave everyone very late notice. I don't expect too much from people if they've done well so far. Actually, to be fair, Belle, what about you? Anything there?
I've been madly trying to think of something since you announced the category. Look, I think I have one, though. I think the Soilworks album was pretty cool. I remember seeing them. I remember seeing them live. I don't know, maybe 15 years ago in Sydney. They played a show with Killswitch Engage and Anthrax, and there was an Aussie band. I can't remember who that was. But
they were here about
and
I
hadn't heard of them. Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
just here about a month ago. Yeah,
they didn't tour. They didn't come to Hobart, so I wasn't going to see them. Sorry.
There is a
I really
spirit of Tasmania, you know. You can get over here on that boat.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
You're gonna put me up in your house. Maybe I'll come out for a gig.
But it's like a 45-minute flight, and then you're there. You know?
There we go. We'll organise for Belle to get some more gigs in 2023.
Thank you.
I'll contribute to that.
So that's the one that got your attention.
The Belle Charity Fund. Yes. Soilwork. I thought it was really cool. I haven't listened to it since. Listened to it a couple of times, but I'll try and find more time for it because I enjoyed it.
Cool. Awesome. About you, Jeff? Anything jump to mind for you?
Well, a band that I once again kind of like Fozzy. You know, I listen to them a lot, and you can see a kitty cat in the background. But this band I used to love. And I stopped listening to them. They sort of started getting really repetitive and stuff like that. But they released an album this year, Epica, the Alchemy Project.
Ah, nice.
Okay, and it's fucking great. If you like that sort of symphonic stuff, what they did was they collaborated with a whole bunch of other artists, and they all wrote songs and they put it together. Fucking amazing.
Yep.
You know, some like Death God Apocalypse and stuff like that. Bands that you wouldn't even imagine them having anything to do with.
Yeah.
Really, really cool shit. I like it. So yeah, that's mine.
Cool.
Nice. They did a cool little EP, Attack on Titan, a few years ago as well, which is that was a cool little one too, where they took on that soundtrack something and reimagined it. Yeah, they're very creative. That band, they're very cool.
Absolutely, very good. Yeah.
For my little list here, before we take a quick break, I got a few mentions and then the actual winner, which it might be a bit of a surprise to some people out there, knowing me. But one of the biggest surprise packages in the mention side was Kirk Hammett with his Portals EP. Yeah. I didn't know what to expect. I just thought, what could happen with this? Kirk Hammett on his own for the first time ever It's like, okay, what's going to happen here? And it was actually really well done. It was an accomplished piece of music. I enjoyed it a lot.
Wow, they should let.
It was so good. It was really good. Yeah.
They should let him write. They should let him contribute more than.
I know. I actually fully agree. It was a really impressive release. Really.
Shut up! It's the David Lars show, really.
Shut up, Lars.
It's very much
James Lars.
James and Lars. It's very much shut up and do your solo, Kirk. Don't do anything else.
As long as you didn't lose your phone before the album gets recorded.
Well, that's right, because apparently he had a whole bunch of stuff written for the last album. Supposedly, yeah.
But anyway, this EP proved that he can write stuff that's much more expansive and was leaning into his horror side a bit more too, which I thought was really well done. Very, very interesting.
Okay.
Well, very cool.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked they allowed him to.
I know. That's why you had no idea what to expect. And then you got this really cool piece, this 4-track EP, which is really well done. So it was a really good little pickup there. Another one for me was Dorothy with Gifts from the Holy Ghost. Now, I've enjoyed her in the past, but I didn't expect to enjoy this one as much as I did. And there's a song on that which is an absolutely fucking cracking release, which I'm pretty sure I'll get mentioned later on. But Dorothy, Gifts from the Holy Ghost, I think she did a great job with that album. Another one that actually caught me by surprise was Eddie Vedder with the Earthling album. I went into it with really low expectations, really low, and was very pleasantly surprised. I was like, okay, that was a lot better than I actually really enjoyed it. So I have gone back to listen to that one again. And I've been critical of not his talent, but just the songs just weren't as good over the last few years. But that album was really good. So, yeah, if you've been put off by Eddie Vedder in the past and didn't check out Earthling, go and do that. It's really good.
It is good, yeah.
One that I know Dave didn't like in the end, but I loved it, was the Silent Skies release with Nectar. Dave hated it.
Turned up after I reviewed it.
Now, it's not for everyone. You've got to like your piano and vocal kind of stuff. But for me, growing up on classical music, it was, in the old wheelhouse for me. So I really did enjoy that one. I didn't know what to expect because you heard, a couple of songs in the singles. You don't. It's different. It's not, it's not Evergrey by a long stretch. But
it's not.
But for me, it just was a really pleasant surprise. And it just stayed with me.
Nothing pleasant about that album.
Oh, Dave.
Depressing.
Get some taste.
Scathing review.
It was Dave ripped it to bits. And the funniest thing is one of the guys who wrote the album commented on the YouTube video as well. That's another one where Dave gets off the band. So that's there as well. But I enjoyed it. Another one actually came from a Patreon recommendation. Was Jolly Joker with Loud and Proud. That one was, I think Lee recommended that one. I didn't know what to expect, and it was actually a really impressive little rock album. So if you like, just straight up hard rock, that Jolly Joker album, Loud and Proud, was a good little surprise pack. It caught me by surprise. It was a really nice touch. But my winner for this year, actually, the biggest surprise pack for this year, I went to this one thinking I was going to fucking hate it. And I mean, I thought I was going to like this less than I was going to like Eddie Vedder. Ended up being impressed as fuck with this release. This is James Labrie, Beautiful Shade of Grey. That album blew my mind. I was like, I'm not traditionally a huge fan of Dream Theater or James Labrie, but that one, that got my attention. And I liked what he did with his voice. It was a slightly different, tone and tempo to it. I was really impressed with that release. That was my biggest surprise packet for the year 2022. I didn't have much expectation at all with that one. I thought I was going to rip it to bits. And I ended up coming out the other side going, actually, fucking well done. Really good album. So give that one a go if you're so kind. We're going to take a quick break here. We'll come back in our terms in a few minutes. In your terms, watching at home, it'll be just a second away. But we'll take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll pick up where we left off. We're back for a little break. We'll see who's got anything for this one outside of myself and Dave. It's a pretty niche little one, this topic, next one. But we're going to go with our best cover song of 2022. Dave, I know you've got something there. So what came to mind for you for your best cover of 2022?
I got one.
You got one? That's cool. Yeah, I got two, and they're probably equal first. I don't know. But Fozzy with Frankie Goes to Hollywood. That was a cool middle of the album, nice change of pace. The first time I listened to it, I didn't have a track list. I was just like, hang on, this song sounds familiar. No, then fuck yeah.
I was like, where the fuck did that come from?
So I thought that was cool. And Reckless Love with their take on Bark at the Moon. That was interesting.
Yeah, yep.
Faithful, and it had the sound of the album. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Nice. All right. Conrad, you remembered something, so what have you got?
Just those two last tracks on the, on the Megadeth record. Those two last tracks were covers.
Sammy
Hagar cover, the Sammy Hagar cover, and the Dead Kennedys cover. And I thought they were both solid. They were both really, really good. And as far as their covers go, and they've covered a lot of bands over the years, and I think these two are really probably the two of the best that they've done. They were really, really good, really solid. So I was happy with those two.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's change up a bit and go to Jeff next. What have you got in mind?
Well, I did have Relax. Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
You can still do that one, mate. It's okay.
Okay, look, I'm going to actually go now. This is a friend of mine. So he's got a band. You can Google it on YouTube. His name is Matt Hughes. It's spelled just the way it's Hughes. And he did a cover. He released an album this year, and he did a cover of Sammy Hagar's Heavy Metal from, remember the Heavy Metal
song? The movie? From the film?
The movie, yep.
From the movie, yeah.
So Google that, Matt Hughes, Heavy Metal, fucking amazing.
Nice.
Yep.
He should have gotten some recognition for it. It was so good. So good.
I love that film. And
good friends with him. Good friends. Yeah, it's a great film. It's hard to find, I've been looking for that on like 4K. Can't find it.
And they've done another one too. They've done like a second one, a more updated version of Heavy Metal. I think they've done I don't know if it's called Heavy Metal 2, but I know that there's another one done. The animated thing.
Yep.
You guys have all seen that movie, right? The original Heavy Metal?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it. Lemmy voices one of the characters, doesn't he? Or is it based on Lemmy? Yeah. He
Black Sabbath, Dio, it's got everything. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's got everything.
I'd have to rewatch it to refresh myself, but yeah.
It's pretty bizarre. It's pretty out there.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, but it's just amazing. If you like animation, it's early animation, made in '81, fantastic.
Yeah.
But
and there was a recent one too that came out
I do
years ago.
They revisited that one.
It's good. Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Cool.
Actually, there's an idea for an episode for you. Is heavy metal movies? An episode on heavy metal movies with heavy metal theme. Maybe with heavy metal theme to it, like trick or treat.
Metal Lords.
That was a great album. It was a good album. That movie was terrible, but
Trick or Treat and Bill and Ted, and there's so many heavy metal movies you could do.
Yeah.
Wayne's World. There you go.
You should do that. It's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Airheads
for an episode.
Another one.
Airheads, there's another one. It's been and that recent one, Lords of Metal, was it?
Lords of Metal. That was good.
It was a really good film.
Yeah, it was.
A really good film.
Surprised the shit out of me. Thought it was going to be terrible, but it was good.
It was really good. I loved it.
Yeah.
All right, Belle, did you have a cover song for this year that got your attention?
No, I'm sorry. I don't. I couldn't think of anything. So, no.
That's all right.
No,
don't feel bad. It's all good. Well, I'm going to agree with Dave and Jeff here. And as a mention for mine, Fozzy with Relax. It had no business being on that album. It made no sense. Fuck, it was good.
It worked. Yeah, it worked.
It was so good. So there's one for you, Belle. If you check out one cover this year, check out Fozzy with Relax. It was such a different version, but it was so well done. Yeah. But also Aussie band, Southeast Desert Metal out of the Northern Territory. They did a cover of the classic Beds of Burning and did a really good job in their own native language, which is fantastic. That was a great cover. So that was well done. If you haven't checked that out, please do, just to get some Indigenous Australian culture around that too. It's just, there was something about that was quite remarkable. So, Southeast Desert Metal with Beds of Burning. Then there's one here which I discovered randomly during the year, which was a Triumph cover of the song Spellbound done by Sven Gali. Now that was a cracking version. I think it's actually one of those ones that beats the original. So, Sven Gali doing Spellbound from Triumph. That was a cracking one. in studio sort of footage. It was fucking great. So, yeah, I thought that was great. Queensryche and their take on Rebel Yell. That was pretty well done.
Oh, yeah, there was that as well. There was that too, yeah.
It was faithful, but still sort of Queensryche. It was a good little mix.
Yeah, they kept it original enough not to depart too far, but also put their own stamp on it. Yeah.
Got the balance right, which is good.
Yeah. Mm.
A band called The Life Project released an EP of 4 covers, and from that one, I'm going to go with Courtney Mosh. I forget the woman's name doing the vocals, but my God, her vocal was fantastic. So Life Project, yeah, Courtney Mosh, that was a fantastic cover. That whole EP is great. Just go and check it out. But if you want to check out one song, The Live Project, Courtney Mosh, go and check out that one. But my winner for this year for the best cover song of 2022 was actually James Labrie with Ramble On. I did not think that would go as well as it did, and he smoked it. Wow. So that version was really cool. So I think Dave's like, what the fuck's going on this year? But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that cover. It was a really good way. It was, what was it, relatively early in the album from memory, Dave? Or towards the
about
end?
About halfway, I think.
COVID has affected Andrew's brain in some ways. Done something to it.
I don't hear either of you two complaining so far. So
no, definitely not complaining.
Do it before COVID. So
there's no body snatchers. I don't know. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that's the cover song for the year. Now we're going to move on to another one for this year, which is the best debut. Again, another more niche one. The best debut from 2022. I don't know. I don't expect people to have a lot of this one, but I know that Dave and I have got it covered. So, Dave, let's start with you and let's see what happens after that. What was your best debut from 2022?
Yeah, this is pretty recent, and this band's also just recently dropped the second single, but Iron Sky with Round the Neck.
Nice.
It's a very promising new local band, and really
they're Australian, aren't they? Yeah.
Melbourne.
I think I saw a clip of theirs the other day.
Yeah, they just dropped one yesterday.
Yeah,
that was really
I think I just saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Definitely a band to keep an eye on.
Okay.
Nice. So that was your one and only, Dave, or?
Yeah, one and only.
Cool. There's let's just do the rounds quickly. Conrad, anything?
Sorry, don't know new band. Don't know a new band, sorry.
All good. Jeff, anything coming to you?
No, I honestly can't think of anything. I'm sure I probably have listened to a few, but I just can't think of any off the top of my head.
All good. Let's do the trifecta. Belle, anything from you?
So I mentioned this band earlier. I think this was a debut. Blonde Zombie by Cross-Eyed Lover.
Yes.
Is that right? Was this a debut? Yeah. It was a really cool album. I thought this was an excellent debut. It was just a beautiful thing that they put out. So well done, those guys.
Nice.
Yep. Go Aussie. Yep.
Cool. Well, we're going to go with the WA theme on this one because I've got a few actually. For the honourable mention, Electric State, another band out of WA, they released Green Machine, and that's a really good album from early this year, like really early this year. So, yeah, Electric State, Green Machine, another band out of WA, fantastic release there. Cobra the Impaler released their debut album, Colossal Gods. That's a cracking release as well. Dave, you might be spewing you missed this one. New Horizon, Gate of the Gods, the project from Eric Grunwald there. That's a very cool one. He and T got together to do that one, so that's a very good release, that one. And then if you want to go down to Melbourne side, we've got a couple of bands here from Melbourne. Atomic Right with their self-titled album. That's a very good debut. If you like your hard rock with melody and riffs, then that's another band for you to check out. Just watching the dog, make sure she doesn't rip the cable out. Don't know what she's doing, but anyway. Then also, this is a very recent review we did here, but it's actually the debut album from this band, even though it was originally written in the 90s. Hyperdrive Stereo, Greatest Destroyer of Love. That was a really good album. I thought it was a really good, solid debut release. It's a shame that I don't know if there's any plans to do more than that one album, but as far as debuts go, if that had been released at the time it was written, might have rewritten history, that album. But anyway, that was a fantastic release. But my actual best debut for the year goes to Kirk Hamill's Portals. I think that was just a phenomenally good release. I thought it was so well written, composed, performed. It's my best debut album, or it's an EP in this context, but my best debut release for the year.
I'm going to have to give that a spin. Does he sing?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's instrumental, but it's really well done. He's
because
written
you don't like guitar-y usually. Usually you don't like sort of guitar.
I don't. He's written with a composer, so there's strings and other bits and pieces going on. It's a complete song.
It doesn't sound like a guitar album, really. It doesn't.
Yeah.
No, it's very soundtracky kind of stuff. So more soundscape or score work.
Soundtrack.
Solos sound like Ride the Lightning era.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So the solos are complementary, not the centerpiece, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's good. I thought it was good.
Mm.
He's still
Really
killing
good.
cats in guitar solos.
I'll have to have a look at it. I'll have to look at that. Yeah,
Check it out. I reckon it's worth your time. I reckon you'll enjoy it, actually. If you like anything remotely sort of soundtracky or score-based at all.
Well, my favorite would be the Blade Runner soundtrack.
Yeah.
By Vangelis.
Vangelis is fantastic. It's a shame. He passed away this year, didn't he, from memory? Or is it
was a couple of years ago, I think.
Couple of years ago.
Well, he was that. I mean, that soundtrack to Blade Runner is just
it's fantastic.
It's stunning. Yeah. It's just incredible.
Him and John Williams. The two of those absolutely brilliant score artists.
Yeah.
All righty, let's move on to the next category. Again, another one that might be a bit niche, but we'll see what happens. This is the best video released in 2022. So it's pretty self-explanatory category. So, Dave, what have you got?
Yeah, I got 2 runners-up and the main winner. But one of these bands released a animated video, and I thought it was done amazingly well. And the song is catchy as fuck. It's Alstorm with Party. Really, really well done. Humor, hook. And the animation's fantastic. They put a hell of a lot of work.
Not Cannonball, is it?
Cannonball is a great song.
There's a video for that.
The video's simplistic.
There's a video for that.
Yeah. It's just got him in the blender.
There's a video for it. Yeah.
It's so good. Another runner-up is Lagerstein with Lagerphone. Little story to that video, and such a great song and such a great video. But we've got to go with the dark side and Wednesday 13 with Insides Out. That is full-on brutality. It's he doesn't pull any punches with that one. He actually takes some parts out of people, which is good. It's good if you like that type of shit.
Yeah, I actually thought the one that was the Exorcist theme was better, but
no, he's done some great videos for this album. Got to go with Insides Out.
Nice. All right, let's see what happens when we do the rounds this time around. So, Jeff, let's go to you. Any videos get your attention this year?
You mean aside from the Hard Rock Show?
Nice. Well played.
I'll be back, Conrad. No, I don't watch a lot of videos. Really. I do watch shows and stuff, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. Just because. Sorry.
All good. Yeah, no drama at all. All right, Belle, what about you? Any videos come to mind for you?
Oh, my God. You can't go past Rammstein for videos. Zigzag.
Yep.
Hilarious. All about plastic surgery. Couldn't stop laughing.
Oh, yeah.
In the end, he's like stapling his own face. It's just so good. It's brilliant. I loved it.
Yep.
Also, Rammstein, Dicker Titten. I thought that was so funny. I mean, it was on theme. It was, the theme of it was kind of German, old German, from
the full Lederhosen experience
years ago. Yeah, and then right at the end. Anyway, it was just, you've got to watch it. It's just so good. I love their videos. So both of my votes go to Rammstein for videos.
Nice.
Love them.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I've got one of them coming up as well. Before that, Conrad, what have you got? Anything come to mind?
Yeah, Porcupine Tree herd culling.
Nice.
The animation and just the vibe of it and just the visuals, the animation. It's just it's kind of got some unexpected little twists and it kind of creeps up on you a little bit. It's a bit scary. I quite liked it. There's a wolf in it, and it's pretty cool. It's well done. It's very well done.
Awesome.
So I think it's worth checking out for those that haven't. It's it's interesting.
Cool.
Some interesting sort of animated stuff. A different style of animation.
Yeah.
that I've not sort of seen this style of animation before. It's quite it's just quite unique. So yeah, worth watching.
Awesome. Cool. All right, I got a few as always. I got the mention here. One of those mentions is actually the Aussie artist Sanny Valou with his video, I Don't Believe the Truth. I thought that was really clever, very catchy song, very funny video. A lot of work went into it. It was just very, very well done. And just, if you want something a bit more fun, then that was really cool. Speaking of fun videos, this one was just out there. I've got a couple of Eurovision ones here referenced, but first cab off that rank is Trollfest with their song Dance Like a Pink Flamingo. And they went all in on the video. The band it's a live video from the band. They're playing in flamingo outfits. It's bonkers. So you'll either love it or you'll hate it very quickly. But if you like, the folk metal side of things, that was just hilarious. The hook in the chorus is just fucking nuts. So yeah, Trollfest Dance Like a Pink Flamingo. On the same Eurovision track of things, Voyager with their track Dreamer. I thought that was a really cool video that went with it, and just it was more to do with the editing side of things on the video. That one that got my attention. So they slowed things down, the synchronicity of it all. It was very, very well done, very well put together. Like Belle, I've got a Rammstein mention here, but I'm going to go with a track that she didn't mention, and I'm going to go with Angst. The way they built the story and the narrative in that video, how it starts off with them sort of building the little walls for themselves, and then they end up with machine guns and just shooting the shit out. It's like just their social commentary in both the music and their video form is second to none with Rammstein. So, yeah, that one was one for me. But also another nomination for me or mention was Scorpions with Rock Believer. I think the video hit the tone just right. Just with the concert footage, the going back through time, the montage effect, 80s montage, here we go. But no, it was just really well done. I thought it's hard to do those ones hit the tone just right, and they did a very, very good job. Like Hardcore Superstar did something similar with Forever and a Day, but I think that when it comes to this stuff, Scorpions with Rock Believer, they just knocked out of the park with that one. But for my actual winner this one, it's an animated video this time, and it's because it was such a darker way to do things when it comes to the song style, the video fit, but Ghost with Call Me Little Sunshine, it was a relatively simple video. Just the execution of it was really well done. It just fit the song so well and gave you the story of the seduction of it all, which was really, really nice. I thought it was really well done. So yeah, Ghost, Call Me Little Sunshine, probably my favorite video for this year. I've watched it a few times and yeah, really didn't get tired of it at all. So that's that one. Moving from the studio to the live environment. So we're going to go to the best live clip or song released in 2022. So whatever live thing gets your attention. And Dave, what have you got on your list? Shit.
Yeah, this is more than a song. This is the full album. Anthrax Live XL.
Nice.
I kind of overlooked it when it came out, but then I was looking for something to listen to for the afternoon at work. And I just, Anthrax have a live album out. It celebrates their career, so chucked it on. It's just like, fuck, it's like going down memory lane. So many different eras and stages throughout the band. It's just about 2 hours, 20 minutes of just Anthrax history. And it's just like, this band is fucking great. Well, part of my childhood, part of my adolescence, 20s, 30s, just one of those lifetime bands. It's just such a great release to hear. And the band sounds amazing all these years later. So that was a very cool release.
Cool. All right. Let's go to you next, Belle. Is there anything that got your attention in that space?
Yes, definitely. Not Anthrax because I haven't listened to that either. But one of those lifetime bands, Dave. Yes, absolutely. Well put. Agree.
Nice.
Same goes for me. But Inglorious, which are an English hard rock band, they released. They released an album, but a single from Inglorious was I Don't Need Your Lovin', and I hadn't heard this band before. I think the singer was on some kind of talent show. I don't really know the history of this, but he's a great
Nathan
singer.
James has a colourful past, I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Oh yes, I've dealt with him myself. I've dealt with him personally. I've dealt with him personally on several occasions. I used to see.
I want to hear those stories.
I used to see what was the band? What's the band? Inglorious. I see Inglorious quite a bit actually play around London in pubs in London. I used to see them play quite a bit, and they played a pub I would often go to called the Big Red, which was a rock metal bar, and they'd play there and around London. But he's just got delusions of grandeur of who he is. I mean, you're playing a pub that doesn't have a dressing room, so he hires a hotel nearby because he doesn't have a dressing room. So he hires a hotel and then has a fucking minder with him, to play a pub. And it's like, mate, you're not playing stadiums, mate. You're not having to fight your way through people who aren't going to mob you. You're not the fucking Beatles. You're not going to get mobbed by people when you come into the venue through the front door. I'm sorry, there's not a tradesman's entrance for you. And it's ridiculous. Yeah, he's a bit delusional on where he's sort of at. And Def Leppard took the piss out of him. Actually, it's quite funny. It's quite funny, but because he sacked his entire band, fired his entire band, and he went online and had a rant, and that
was an odd episode. Yeah,
it was quite funny, but the hilarious thing about seeing them live is that you'll see all these girls down the front, all these girls, and he's a good-looking guy, and he's got long blonde, curly hair, and and all these chicks will be down the front just drooling all over him, and the reality of it is, he's gay. He's into men. He's not into it. He's into blokes. He's gay.
What?
Yes. He's not remotely interested. He's not remotely interested in any of these chicks. They're all down the front. There's all these women down the front. There's all these women down the front just like drooling all over him, throwing themselves at him, and he's just like, he'll be sussing out. He's looking at their boyfriends, It's hysterical.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's not let
sing.
That's the thing, Belle. Yeah.
Sing the band.
He's a great singer. He's a great singer. I'll give him that.
Whatever musos he fired were great. Whatever musos joined the band are also great.
The new lineup's pretty good, actually. I'll pay that.
Yeah.
He was on the War of the Worlds. He did War of the Worlds.
Yes, he did.
He did the War of the Worlds. I saw him on that. Yeah, saw him do that live. Yeah.
Talented man.
Yeah, he is talented. Just delusional.
To be fair, in more recent interviews, he seems to have toned things down a little bit. So in more recent context, he's
got an ego big enough to he thinks he's playing stadiums when he's playing bars.
I did know that. I thought that would be on your list there, Belle. But so that was the Inglorious 2021 live at the Phoenix. That was the one for you, yeah?
That's the one.
That's the one. Anything else, or is that the only one that sort of grabbed you this year?
No, that's it.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's actually more than I thought we'd get out of that one. So that's actually been a good little segue in story time. So that's worked out pretty well. We'll get to Conrad again in a second. But Jeff, did any live tracks, either video or song, get your attention this year?
Yeah, there's a song from a few years ago by Ghost.
Yeah,
Mary on a Cross, and they did a live video recently with that. I think it was just, and they edited pieces together, people singing the lyrics and stuff like that. I thought it was done quite well. So, I mean, it's live, but it isn't live. You know what I mean? Like it's a live thing, but it's contrived that they've made it into like a video with the actual studio version. Yeah. But yeah, it's good. I like that. So I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, I don't watch a lot of live stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff that I do is, like reruns of Rush videos and things like that. Over and over and over.
Dave shaking his head.
Hey, Dave, let me ask you, Dave, how many documentaries of Dream Theater are on Netflix that you can name?
Dream Theater don't need Netflix.
Okay.
You too. I'm going to put you in fucking timeout in a minute.
No,
All right,
no, I'm just pulling your chain. I'm just pulling your chain, Dave. I love you.
Russia also on Tubi.
Oh my
The
god.
what?
Russia also on Tubi. Tubi is free.
Oh yeah, Tubi's free. Yeah. Red Tubi as well. Is that another one?
Tubi's got some great horror movies. Also got some stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, Conrad, did you have any live music to add? No?
Sorry.
You told us a story. That's all good. I'm happy with that.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Sorry. Yeah.
All right, I'll launch into my list then, just to keep us moving along. So, actually, for a few mentions here, the Palace of the King released an album live in España at the beginning of the year. That was really cool. That was a very good release. I also had the Inglorious release. Just checking out some of the live videos for that, you could tell that he and the band were on fire. So the lineup has clicked its work. So that Inglorious album, if you want to check out a live album that just proves that the talent is there, then yeah, that one does definitely do it. Blackstone Cherry also released live from the Royal Albert Hall, Youghal. Now, there's a particular song that they performed live and got a couple of live videos for it, which is Things My Father Said. And on this particular rendition, it's the first time documented that I know. Like, he's obviously sung the song, but this is the first time it was captured in this form since his father passed away. So him going through the story of his father passing away, setting the tone for the song Things My Father Said, and how much his father actually loved that song was a nice touch, and how it's an emotional moment. And if you like the sort of a part of a song or a story that gets the goosebumps going and gets the emotion and sort of, tapping into that well kind of a thing, then yeah, Blackstone Cherry live performing Things My Father Said is always an experience. And actually having seen it live myself, it's phenomenal. So if you haven't checked it out, please do. But my actual winner for this one is the entire EP Recovery from Acolyte. I think that is, in visual and audio form, that EP is, I think, by far the best live thing I've seen this year, aside from actually going to the Horsehead show. That one was just so well done. The rearrangement, the performance, there's nowhere to hide the way it was put together. It was just really well done. I thought that was just such an honest and real and well done performance of those three fantastic songs with the rearrangement for the little string part of it. Beautiful stuff. So that was a good little package from Acolyte this year that I thoroughly enjoyed. Alrighty, let's get into we're getting toward the pointy end of things now. Let's get into the best song from 2022. That is the category now. Best song. This is where we get into the harder part of things now. I'm going to go with Rowan. Actually sent one in for this one. So he's got I Have Little to No Memory of These Memories by Toehider. Now, if you're paying attention, that one song goes for about 38 minutes. So it is an album in one song. It's actually very well done, though. We didn't review it yet this year, but I did listen to it, and the Toehider album, I Have Little to No Memory of These Memories, is fucking great. So, yeah, I will pay Rowan a lot of credit for that one. For one, the choice of the song, but also choosing one that goes for an album length, which is clever. Well done, Rowan. All right, from there, Dave, what have you got on your list?
Well, my runner-up is Alstorm composed a beautifully emotional song about cannonballs being inserted into various orifices and members being mashed up in blenders and so forth. And it's a bit of a tearjerker even for the hardest of hardest men. And, yes, it's certainly a song like no other. But unfortunately, it didn't quite make my number one. It's a fantastic song, but my number one song for the year inspired me to make one. Lagerphone from Lagerstein. Had to make one. Best song, best video. And I managed to make most of that Lagerphone without hitting my thumb with the hammer until I said it, and then I did it. So Julia has video of that.
Oh, fuck. Fucking hell, Dave. Just for the record, Cannonball isn't on my list, but fuck, what a song. What a song. It's so good. Like, oh, wow. If you want to hear one stupid song this year, that's it. Like, it's so
I'm listening to the album for the first time, like, what the fuck did he just say?
Yeah. Between that and Dance Like a Pink Flamingo, my year was made. Like those two songs for just sheer stupidity factor, fantastic. All right.
Yep.
Is that all you got there, Dave?
That's all I got.
All right, let's see if Jeff has anything to add to this conversation. Your best song from 2022, anything?
Yep, I've got two. So my runner-up and then my favorite song of 2022. Now, one of them is from a band that I fucking despise. But they released an album that is I'm speechless.
You're in pain trying to do this one.
Well, look, credit where credit's due. That's really what it comes down to. I don't like them as a whole, but they released an album this year that I listened to. And fairness, I'll give it a listen to. Being impartial, and I was blown away by this. And actually, so this is my runner-up song. A song of the year. It's the last song on The End So Far, which is Finale from Slipknot.
Wow.
The last song. Slipknot has never been in my wheelhouse. I've never really liked them.
Wow.
This album, I think, is probably the best thing I've ever heard from them, ever.
I agree.
And that for me is like, there was just something about having 20 people in a band. It was like the fucking Village People. I just couldn't get into it, so their career was like that. It's like, okay, they'd release something and I would just say, oh,
The Village People meets The Purge.
Yeah. There was, if I could, up until this album, if I could think one word to describe Slipknot, one word: pretentious.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but then they released this album, and it made me question. It made me go,
This
album
album has
shit.
something special to it, yeah.
Yeah, there's something special about this album. There's something different. I think it's the melodies of Corey Taylor's voice. The melodies that he's included. It's almost like he's taking fucking lessons on how to sing. And now he can just do something, and it actually sounds good. So I was very surprised. And I'm just taking cheap shots at the band, but I always thought Slipknot was very pretentious. That they had a gimmick. They couldn't do it musically, so they had to make it look, hey, look at us, and they all look crazy.
The same mode for a long time, and then we did a Slipknot special a couple of years ago and fucking fell in love. So yeah,
this might be my gateway, really.
This album is the gateway album to this band, I think.
I think so, and this is coming from someone who said, and I honestly believe I couldn't stand them really up until this point, and so now they've given me my runner-up for Song of the Year.
Wow,
which is the last track, Finale. Great song. Loved it. And my song of the year is called Dead and Gone. It's Ozzy Osbourne from Patient Number 9.
Yeah.
It's Zach, so it's nothing, it's nobody new, nobody special. It's Zach playing guitar.
Yeah.
And it's just
feels like home.
That's special. That's special for me.
Yeah.
Zach playing guitar. I don't
get me wrong. I love him, but I'm saying, he reached out and grabbed all these other amazing musicians, and they, and wrote an album, and probably the best song on the album was one with him
with Zach. Wow.
Yeah. So, and it's obviously, I just love it. So if you haven't heard Dead and Gone, get on that. Listen to it. It's great. And if you haven't heard, Slipknot Finale, so The End So Far.
Yep.
Do it.
Yeah. Good choices, man. Nicely done. All right, Belle, do you have anything on your list or?
Yes, I do. I have one, which is, well, in my opinion, which is what we're doing here.
Yeah,
the best song that I've heard all year. And there are so many good songs, like stupid amounts. But the standout for me is a Melbourne, Geelong to be specific, a Geelong band called Toxicon.
Yep.
Their single Deletist. It's just so good. It's unique. I can't think of another song that I can even compare it to. It's heavy. It just chugs along, it's slow and it's got, good riffs, and the lyrics are on point.
Yeah, they did a good job the whole album lyrically.
Oh, yeah, well, the whole album, yep, spoiler alert, it's in my top 10, but it's just so good. It's just, if you haven't heard it, please go and listen to it. This band are amazing, but this song is just I don't get bored of listening to this song at all. Nice. and then it just kind of it chugs along, and then at the end it sort of changes up, and there's kind of a breakdown, and oh my god, love it. Yeah, this band are just so good. I hope they kind of break through into international favors. Like, it's just brilliant. Yep, really good song. No, that's it for me.
They've done some good things so far, but that album is their best work, and it's great. Yeah, that's a good album.
Yes. Yep.
Alrighty. Cool. Conrad, anything for best song of the year?
Clutch.
Nice.
Nosferatu. Nosferatu Madre.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Kick-ass song. Yeah. Great album.
Great album. Great song.
Great song. Yeah.
Nice.
That's probably my fave for the year. Definitely.
Cool. Nicely done. All right. I got a little list. I'll go through my mentions first. Arcane Saints, Melbourne band here, with Tim being a part of that band, with the song Satellites. That has such a good, great meaning lyrically in the song as well. It's a great track. I mentioned this next one earlier on with Dorothy, with Gifts from the Holy Ghost, I think it's called, from memory. We're late now in the piece. But yeah, the song Black Sheep, that song is a fucking belter. Dorothy, Black Sheep, and it's got a great video as well. I love it. A little bit of a dark horse one here, though, is one from another Melbourne artist that we love the bits here at the show, in Carly Jewell. She released a new single this year called Trouble We Are. And that song has another one with a great hook that makes it stay in your mind. And yeah, I think she's as talented as fuck, but I think that song is just brilliant. So Carly Jewell, Trouble We Are, a nomination for me there. I couldn't cut this down properly, so I'm going to go with a few extra bonuses here. So Striker, Strange Love. I know that it wasn't a world beater for some of us here, but fuck, that hook is one of the best hooks I've heard all year. And the energy, the groove on it is just brilliant. So yeah, Striker, Strange Love. If you like it, energetic, upbeat, that band are fantastic. They've certainly evolved over the years, but that song, fuck, that's a cracker. On top of that, I've got Evergrey with Save Us. That song and that hook in particular is just like the emotive weight that Tom England is able to put into his performance is just second to none. And what he does on the songs like Save Us is just brilliant. And then my first runner-up is Ghost with Call Me Little Sunshine. I've raved at that band for years. Anyone that knows me knows how much I love them, but that song is fantastic. But my winner for this year is actually from Nazareth, and that is Strange Days. That is my song of the year. I couldn't get enough of it. What a hook, what a groove. Just, it's nothing complicated, but it doesn't need to be when it's done that fucking well. That is again, that was my gateway to this band. I love it. Nazareth, Strange Days, my favorite song for this year. Fucking belter. If you haven't heard that, unfuck that. Go and check it out. You've got to listen to that song.
I'm unfucking that right now.
Good.
I haven't heard it, and I want to.
Man, you've got to.
I love Nazareth. I just thought they were dead and gone.
Strange Days. That's such a song. All righty.
Okay. Check that out.
On to the only negative before the bin tonight, and that is the most disappointing release for 2022. This could be some shots fired. Let's see how this one goes. Dave, Most disappointing release for the year. Now, this doesn't mean they're shit. It just means that you've gone in with expectations and it just disappointed you. So, what have you got, Dave? It could be shit.
You recording? You're definitely recording?
Definitely recording.
Hey, I'm only going to say this one. Okay? Guns N' Roses box set of Use Your Illusion.
Oh, yes, it's on the record. Yes.
Yeah. It's not terrible. It got some cool live stuff, but there could have been a hell of a lot more live stuff because they did pro-shot a lot of shows from that 2.5-year tour. And we get 2.
Yeah.
2 shows and 1 DVD. There could have been so much more. I mean, I knew there was no unreleased songs in that period. A couple of demos might have been cool, but it was a big wait. And the Appetite for Destruction box was so great, and this was just disappointing. They could have done so much more with it, and they didn't. I actually struggled with this category because a lot of great albums out this year. I didn't find anything that really disappointed me. So I'm just like, well, that's actually what I was disappointed with because I waited so long for it. It should have been out last year.
Yeah.
But it's good for what it is, but there could have been more.
Yeah.
They only had one chance to do it. They fucked it up.
That's the thing. Yep, that's true. All right. Let's see if anyone else has anything at all. Let's go to Conrad. Anything that was most disappointing to you this year?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
The last Megadeth record, I was pissed off. Pissed off. That's why I had high expectations. It's not a bad record. It's no one says it's a bad record. I just had high expectations and they weren't met. They weren't met. A lot of people love it. I'm seeing reviews online everywhere, and it's singing its praises, and I'm going, did I miss something here? And
no, you just weren't getting paid for it to say it, that's all.
And I went back and listened to it. Like yesterday, I think it was, or the day before, and it's not what I was hoping for and what was I expecting. It's not bad by no means. Is it shit? It's just not what I wanted to hear.
Yeah,
and I was expecting more. I was expecting more from them. So that's my biggest disappointment of the year. Other than
Nice. No,
it's tough when it's a band that you love and you're very passionate about.
Yep.
Yeah. When it's a band you're very passionate about and you love, and they release something that it's not at your expectations, it shits you. You get angry. You get pissed off.
They're victims of the bar they've set previously for themselves, and that can be hard. Yeah,
absolutely.
Expectation.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to Jeff next now. Anything that disappointed you this year?
Yeah, well, I hate to
Don't say us.
sounds like it's on repeat. No. But exactly what Conrad just said. It was the same album from the same band, Megadeth, The Quick, The Dying, The Dead. That album is The Dead. And it's Conrad said, and I'm just going to say, it's not a bad album.
No.
A lot of bands would kill to release something like that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't what I was expecting. And I think there was so much hype for this album as well. There was the firing of, Dave Ellefson.
Yeah.
And that happened during the making of it.
He did it to himself.
Yeah, I know. They deleted all of his stuff, and then they brought in their old bass player, who used to play for White Lion, if anyone wants to keep track.
Yep.
And Zach Wilde, David Lee Roth.
Right. Yep.
Zach Wilde, David Lee Roth. I saw him with David Lee Roth. Yeah. And I saw him with Pride and Glory. I saw him
I saw him with White Lion. That was it.
Yeah.
But,
wow, that would have been a while ago, yeah.
Yeah, that was a while ago. I saw White Lion opened up for, Vixen opened up for White Lion. White Lion opened up for Ozzy.
Wow.
That would have been like late 80s.
It was 89, I believe. Yeah. No Rest for the Wicked tour.
That didn't come here. That
no. But yeah, the new Megadeth album, I think I was just hoping for just something that's just going to grab you and not let go. And I've listened to it once, and I haven't listened to it again. Wow. It just, some albums, you have to, they grow on you when you listen to them more and more, and they get better. But there has to be something there. It was like asking Dave to listen to the Bee Gees and listen to it over and over and over again until you like it. You're just going to say, fuck you. I'm not doing it. You can't,
You just put
Fuck you,
Megadeth
I'm still buying
in
gas.
the same sentence. I don't think that's been done before on this show.
Megadeth on the Bee Gees. But look, in all fairness, I shouldn't have picked on the Bee Gees, but I really love it. They're Australian. They're really cool, and all that stuff.
Really cool.
It's a guilty pleasure.
The Bee Gees are really cool.
Do you know what's funny? When I wrote down
Jeff, the saying is "Speak up, stupid." Like,
yeah. When I did my album, my top 10, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I wrote down in the margin. I wrote down, whether it was an A, B, or C or D album, right? And as it turned out, all my albums were A's or B's. And then as I was reading it, I had fucking written ABBA in the margin with A, B, B, A. Oh, what the fuck is the number? Oh boy. So yeah. So anyway, but getting off topic, Megadeth in the bin. Sorry. No.
Ouch.
Really, but it's the bin. All right.
It's in the bin for me. Yeah.
Ouch.
Wow. All right.
I might listen to it again, but there's certainly better stuff from them in their catalog. And there's some absolutely iconic, just rip your guts out music from them that is just amazing.
Exactly.
And this wasn't it.
No. And I was expecting more.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm just looking ahead to the audience choice top 10. It's going to be very interesting on the back of that conversation. But anyway, let's go to Belle. Is there anything that was disappointing for you this year?
Oh my God. Well, I said earlier that I haven't actually heard the new Megadeth album.
Don't let him frighten you. Don't let him frighten you off.
I don't know. He bothered.
Don't look Megadeth, listen to the Bee Gees.
Don't let him taint it for you.
Sounds like it's a piece of shit. Really?
It's not a piece of shit.
It's not a piece of shit,
It's not a piece of shit.
I didn't hear anything good come out of your mouth, Conrad.
Hey, look, I'm a diehard fan. I had a diehard fan.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's not a bad record. It's just not what you expect if you're a diehard fan. I guess
No.
And it's had 6 years to make it, and I think you'd be expecting a lot more.
Absolutely. And as Conrad said earlier, the best thing on that album was the cover.
The thing is, what's frustrating? What's frustrating is that he is capable of so much more.
Yeah.
You know that Dave's capable of doing better. That's the problem.
Yes.
This is the classic. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Yes.
Correct. I'm so disappointed that you're willing to just get out of here. Fuck off with this shit. So I had to go in the bin.
I've had enough disappointment from Dave Mustaine.
Slagging off that's the king there. The king is slagging off there.
Pandora's box.
I might put that at the bottom of the listening list. Yeah.
Wow.
All right, well, actually, no. Do check it out and let us know what you think. I'd be curious to see what you think.
So would
about
I. So would I.
Okay.
Yeah, just because you're going because your expectations are lowered. Yeah.
Mm.
Look, I'm an optimist by nature.
You might come away saying it was great.
You might think we're absolutely crazy. Yeah. What are
the fuck are you talking about? Yeah.
Just by, fundamentally, I think you're crazy. How could, after, the first single, that was released was amazing. How could the rest of the album be shit? I can't see it, so
it's not shit.
I will
it's not
judge
shit.
for myself.
It's not shit.
Weight of expectation is the big thing in this one.
It's just that we're just music snobs. That's all. We're just music snobs.
Yeah.
We're just music snobs. We're just elitist. We're just elitist wankers.
That's why I look at the camera. If I turn my head sideways, you see my nose will be big and long, and
we're just music snobs. That's all it is.
Just a snob. Yeah.
Elitist wankers.
I would like to think.
Make your own
I would like to think
Yeah.
I'm in that category too. I would like to think I'm also.
I am genuinely though curious.
I think I'm old enough to have earned that privilege.
if you do listen to it, Belle, let us know what you think. I'd be very curious to get your
I'd love
after
to hear.
this, just to see how it balances out. I'd be curious.
Right.
But was there anything from your side that was a disappointment, at least for the year, that you actually did get around to? Or?
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. Again, an old school band, Def Leppard. Oh my god!
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
Like, you guys reviewed the album, and from what I
enjoyed
remember, you liked it. I thought it
did.
was shit. I thought it was just oh god,
I think it's very good.
it was horrible. It was just so horrible. It was namby-pamby. Oh my god.
Yes.
Bubblegum rock. Yeah, bubblegum rock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well put. Oh god.
Bubblegum rock.
I couldn't wait for it to be over. I thought, no, I'll just and listen through to the end, and that's it.
Right.
I don't think I ever want to listen to another Def Leppard album again. And I'm a fan. I love,
High and dry
maybe
is
30 years ago.
Listen, I'll make a deal with you guys, and that is
horrible.
I'll make a deal with you guys, and that is if I go to London and I do these interviews, I'll give you a heads up on who I'm going to see and who I'm going to meet up with, so that you don't do this before I get there. That way I get there and go, I'm from the Hard Rock Show. Bang!
On that note, don't tell Michael Sweet you know us.
Right. Okay.
Dave is responsible for that.
All right.
Oh my
God.
And that is available. If you want to look it up, you can.
It's
something else.
I'd like to get into these gigs, not be banned from them.
We're unlike anything else. So there are some pitfalls for doing things with us.
Right. Yeah. Not only can you not interview the band, you're actually removed from the venue.
There might be some.
You're actually thrown out the show.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Wow, we're having a year. All right, so was there anything else, Belle, or was it just the Def Leppard album there for you?
No, whatever. I'll never go and see them live, just in case they play anything from that album.
Hey, well, it can happen. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
They're still a great live band. They're still an incredible live band.
We're going to have a lot of fun in a couple minutes.
They're dead to me.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
What do you
really feel?
Belle's coming in fucking straight off the bat, first go.
Wow.
Bang.
Wow.
Awesome. Loving it. This is what we want. All righty. I'll go through my list. I feel like this is going to be a bit of fun now in a couple of minutes. So for mentions for mine, and this is, again, I want to stress that I don't think any of these albums are shit. It's just a case of that you go in with certain expectations or hopes and you don't get those met. And that's where this list comes from. So this could be painful to go through. It's going to be. ZZ Top Raw. I like ZZ Top. It wasn't what I wanted for this year from them. I know that they've just had the passing and all that sort of stuff. And I'm not shitting on anyone, but it's just like.
Oh, shit. Did they put it on an album without the other guy? Without.
It's a live album. Yeah. So
it's a live album with him on it.
No, is it the new guy, isn't it?
I think it's the new guy. Yeah.
They got someone to replace him.
The guy, he was the roadie. The roadie tech guy has replaced him. And
that's actually at the behest of the that's actually in-house. They've teed that up. They wanted that to happen.
All right. Okay.
It's with the blessing of everyone involved.
Okay.
So they did that one, and it was just like it wasn't that it was bad. It was just it wasn't what I was looking for in the context of what was happening this year in that case. Next up is the Pineapple Thief with Give It Back. It was just because it was so highly recommended. Everyone was raving about that band and that album. It was like, come on, check it out. And I'm like, I checked it out. I was like, yeah, it's okay. But the back half of the album kind of let me down a bit. Dave, this one's for you. Reckless Love Turbo Rider. It's a good album, but it's not what I wanted, though. Like, it's fair. It's way too synthwave heavy kind of thing. Like, from what they've done before to this, it's like, it's a good album, don't get me wrong, and they'll probably continue on and it'll be better. And it's, like I said, it's good, but it's just like not what you want when you go from Reckless Love, the last three albums, to this one. It's like, oh, hang on.
Fair call.
Next up is Pike versus the Automaton with the self-titled release. It's a good release, but at the same time, not as good as what everyone was hyping it up to be. That was just really built up, and it's just like, okay, there are pitfalls, and something is so built up in your expectation, not only by quote-unquote journalists, but also by peers, and it's like, okay, this is really cool, and it's like you hear it like, no, it's good, but not what you're telling me it's going to be. Next up, it's actually painful to say this one because it's a band or an artist that I love to bits, and I think that his work in this outfit is better than the one he's more known for. But Slash with Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators with number 4, it's a good album, but things like World on Fire, smoke it. Like, it's a good album. But compared to things like they've done before in the past, this is the whole weight of expectation and the bar being set so high. It's a good album. There's nothing wrong with it. But when it comes to when you put it on, it's like every other Slash release up till now, I couldn't stop spinning it. This one, I listened to it, we reviewed it. I haven't listened to it since. That to me, for Slash and how much I love the body of work, that's just disappointing for me. And that's the point. It's not a bin thing. It's a disappointing thing. But now for my most disappointing release for this year, well, Belle decided to shit on Def Leppard, so I'm going to go and shit on a band that she loves with North Lane. It's worked out well. That album, Obsidian, we didn't tee it up. I've got notes to review it, right? I want to sit down with you and do a review with you, Belle, on this album because from what we had on the singles to what you got on the album, it just takes such a turn, and it's just like, oh, that's not what I was expecting at all from this one. And that's where it's like the weight of expectation plus the singles that they chose good singles because it sucked you into the album. But then when you get to the album, it's like, what happened? Like it's not. This is, again, not to say it's a bad album. It's not like I'm sitting there saying, like Belle did, they're dead to me. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying things like that it's just those singles were so good and the rest of the album is just so meh. And it just didn't – like the singles carried a fair bit, and that's saying something. It's just like the rest of the album is like, yeah, pretty forgettable in a lot of respects. And I hate saying that about Aussie bands in particular. But, that one didn't grab me the way I thought it would, especially after the singles they chose to lead off with it on. So that's where we're at with that one.
If I remember rightly, we were going to review that, and I think it got – because I pulled out. I said I had nothing nice to say about it, so I was just going to skip it. And then we had nobody else. But Tim was going to jump in, and Tim said in the chat that he would say what I didn't want to say.
Yeah. So Belle's like, oh my god! It's like, yeah, this is why I actually want to sit down with Belle and get the fans' perspective because this is my first experience with this band. So Belle's got history, so I want to hear from a fan's perspective what this album means to him versus me coming in new on that band. So it'd be interesting, Belle, to sit down with you one-to-one and just go, okay, let's talk about this album and see where it lands for each of us there. So keep that in the back of your mind. We'll tee it up and do it in the new year. So it is one I do want to actually sit down and do with you face-to-face. All right. I think it's time now for a quick little break. I've got to get a charge of my laptop here. So I'll do a quick break and we'll come back and do the audience choice top 10 for the year before we get into our top 10s ourselves. So we're back in just a moment. We're back from another break. We're going to hit the home turn now. We're going to kick off this last little stanza with the audience choice top 10 for the year. Every year we do these ones, except for 2021 because I couldn't do it in time. But for this year, we do this where the audience we poll across all of our socials. So this is Facebook group, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, fucking YouTube, everything. So we polled everywhere we could to get the audience choice top 10 for this. I don't expect everyone to agree, but we'll see what happens with how this plays out. So the audience choice top 10, this is up to you guys, not up to us, and this will be interesting in context of things we've previously discussed here tonight. Alrighty, so the honourable mentions first, the ones that didn't quite make the cut for the audience choice top 10 this year are Rammstein with Zeit, Machine Head with Of Kingdom and Crown, Scorpions, Rock Believer, Parkway Drive, Darker Still. I will say it's very cool to see some Aussie releases getting very high in the polling this year. Behemoth with Obs Contra Novtrum, and Ghost with Impera. Just missed out on the top 10. It was almost in, but just missed out there. So, going now from 10 to 1, we have at number 10, by the skin of its teeth, with Skid Row, The Gang's All Here. Just gets into the top 10 from the audience choice this year. From 6 through 9, it's a pretty even tie, so we're going to go with Alter Bridge with Pawns and Kings, Arch Enemy Deceivers, Hailstorm Back from the Dead, and The Butterfly Effect with 4. That is a very late comer that has polled exceptionally well, so well done to The Butterfly Effect there. Coming at number 5, this is going to be quite the surprise, I think, to quite a lot of people out there, but this was very well voted on. This is Nickelback with Get Rolling at number 5 for this year for the audience choice top 10 of the year. I'm not sure if Jeff is agreeing or shaking his head in dismay there.
It's a bit of dismay.
All right. Going on previous commentary from Jeff and Conrad in particular, coming in number 4, audience choice top 10 of the year is Megadeth with The Quick, The Dying, and The Dead. That came number 4 from the audience choice. So, Bell, maybe that one gives you a bit more hope with the audience loving it so much as they did. We have a two-way tie between second and third. So this is Heat with Force Majeure on equal footing with Queensryche Digital Noise Alliance, both cracking albums there. Which means, if you haven't guessed it by now, the audience choice top album of the year is Ozzy Osbourne with Patient number 9. I will say on the record that is a stunning release. I know that behind the scenes here, Dave, you'll vouch for this, that the conversation we've had between us and other members of the crew has been rather mixed, actually, in feedback.
Very mixed.
Loved it. Other people didn't like it so much, but the audience were pretty unanimous in this one. This one won by a fair margin. So this is your audience choice number 1 album for the year is Ozzy Osbourne with Patient number 9, a fine return to form from mine. But yeah, that is your audience choice top 10 plus a few little honorable mentions. Just quickly to ones that just didn't quite make the final cut. Slipknot with The End So Far, Psychroptic, another Aussie band with Divine Council. Dead Daisies did very well, actually, better than I expected with Radiance, their new album. And also Mark Tremonti with Tremonti Sings Sinatra got a few nods as well, which is a rather interesting little twist on events there too. Alrighty. On to the meaty end of things now. We'll see how it works out with the guests here tonight, but I know that Dave and I always cover these things off. We're going to go with your top 5 honourable mentions from Australian releases, then top 5 honourable mentions from international releases, and then a top 10 releases of the year. The way that we've done this over the years in the past, we would do like a top 10 Aussie and a top 10 international and so on and so forth. We've morphed that over the last few years into being just a genuine top 10 because we've always believed that the Australian bands are on equal footing with the rest. But to give a bit of extra love, we've just gone, okay, here's 5 from the rest of the world and here's 5 from Australia that couldn't quite make the top 10, but I want to give a shout out to anyway. So your top 5 international releases, Dave. What are your top 5 internationals that didn't make the cut for your top 10?
Internationals, okay. The Warning with Error. Orianthe with Rock Candy. That was an excellent album. Star One, Revel in Time. I actually thought that was going to be in my top 10s, but I just wouldn't fit. Elstorm, Back from the Dead.
Wow.
Sabaton, The War to End All Wars.
Wow. Really?
Aussie, Patient number 9. So that's 6. I'm cheating.
Shit.
Yeah.
What is in your top 10 if they didn't make it? Fuck me dead.
I know.
Right. Okay.
I love some of those albums.
Wow, I'm surprised at that. I'm going to assume between Jeff, Conrad, and Bell, you've just got basically your top albums now, and you haven't really got little lists like this, have you? So
no, I do have a couple, but just
go. I've got about four albums that I've got.
There you go. So I've got 2 Aussie releases that I thought I liked them a lot, and I know one of them is obviously very popular. Dead Sea Ruins with Shockwave. Really good because, like you said, these guys have turned me on to these guys through this show, and I think and it's fantastic stuff. The other one, I don't know if it will get the same sort of reception, but I quite liked it, and I've sort of been kind of acquaintances, I guess, through Facebook and stuff with Dean Wells. So Terror Maze and Flight of the Wounded. Yeah. Yep. I quite like them, and Yeah, I think that it's good.
Haven't listened to it yet. Yeah,
It's very good.
I
You know,
want to genuinely.
In parts of it actually sounds a little bit overproduced, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Wow.
You know, it sounds like it spent a little too much time in the oven, if that makes sense, in some ways, but it's still very, very good. I think a lot of bands these days, everything's done on a computer. There's no heart and soul put into it. Everything's done to a line. There's nothing out of place. You get that. I don't want to pick on Teramaze because everybody does it, you know.
Yeah. But it's an example. Yeah.
Yeah, and but yeah, so there's that. On Sabaton, the War to End All Wars. That was another one that I quite enjoyed. Thing is with Sabaton though, and I'm going to say this, even though that's a really good album, it's almost like if you hear one Sabaton album, you've heard them all. They're very similar sounding. I love the topics. You know, it's great. The history band, really. That's what they are. They're a history band about the wars and things. But I find that their music is very similar, and the content obviously is similar but different, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, so I like them, and the War to End All Wars is kind of unique because it's there's like 3 or 4 different versions of the same album that you can look at and listen to. And I must admit, I listened to the original album and then sort of skimmed through the other ones because I thought, well, you know, there's a lot of great music up there, and I can't spend 3 hours, just about 3 hours, listening to the same band do different versions of their songs.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, so that's kind of it for me. You know, aside from my top 10.
Yep, cool. Conrad or Bell, anything to add into this little mentions part?
Mentions as in honourable mentions.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah. I haven't got anything for honourable mentions.
It's all good, mate. All good. I didn't expect
They're more the ones I've got a list for actual ones.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what I thought would be the case, to be honest. It was just I'm just giving everyone a chance to, if they want to. Bill, anything to add or you out for now?
Well, yes, I do have some honourable mentions.
Cool. Please do.
Northland being one of them. I thought the whole album was excellent. Not just their singles.
I can't wait to sit down with you and chat about that album. I can't wait. That's going to be fun.
Looks like I might have a chance to explain my reasons for that.
Yeah, so please do. Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll tee it up.
Yeah, I thought it just flowed really well. I thought, you know, they're just owning their sound that has evolved from where they were when they started. Yep. I thought it was great, but you do need to, I think, be into a bit of trance to get into this album, not just metal. Yeah. It's a definite,
there's going to be gateway.
A definite crossover.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So unexpected. Well, not unexpected, but they really just kind of took the next level to where they were going. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. But I quite like dance music, so I was very happy with it.
Yeah.
You know, Hobart's favourite boy, Psychroptic. Yeah. I love it. I thought it was great. The single, just, you know, the drums, they just go. Love it. And the whole album is, you know, the whole album's great. I bought the vinyl. It goes really well on my stereo. Just those drums just kind of just rule, I think. But yeah.
Awesome.
So they're my 2 honourable Australian mentions.
Yeah. I'll quickly dive into my 5 international, and Dave and I will do our Aussie as well, and we'll see if anyone else goes in the app before we go into the actual top 10 for the year. For my international top 5 are outside of the top 10, so the honourable mention side of things. So Garish and the Chronicles, Hail to the Heroes. That's an honourable mention for me this year. Again, Dave's going to say the same thing that I said. It's like, if this isn't in your top 10, what is? Next up mention goes to Bloodywood with Rush Shark. Now, they've done a great job with that album. It was so close being part of it. Now, It's not going to be for absolutely everyone. It's that Indian crossover thing, but fuck, they do it so well, and it's unique. It's like alien weaponry. There's nothing else like it, so I really enjoyed it. On top of that, Hangman's Chair with Alona. I've raved about it a couple of times tonight. It's just a fantastic release. Same thing with Dorothy, Gifts from the Holy Ghost. I think that album is just a stunningly good release, and it caught me by surprise at just how good it was. I enjoyed her talent before, but I think this album, it clicked for me as a listener on. And then my final mention for this one is Porcupine Tree with Closure Continuation. That one just missed out on the top 10, but it's such a good album that it has to be mentioned in some way, shape, or form. Dave has been a huge fan of that band for more years than I know, but for me, I'm relatively new to the band, and that album blew me away. To have that album this year was just a gift that I didn't expect, and I really did thoroughly enjoy it. From there, we'll move on to our 5 Aussie honourable mentions now, Dave. So what have you got in that category? Your top 5 Aussie ones that couldn't quite scrape in your top 10.
Yeah, any one of these could have been in the top 10s easily, but fuck. Atomic Riot released their debut album, and I saw them opening for Lagerstein, and I hadn't seen them in like 4 or 5 years, and fuck, they have improved a lot. They fucking nail it. The Omnific with Escapades. That, if you like instrumental, quirky type music, that is an excellent release. Arcane Saints, this is Primal. Once again, another excellent release.
Cool.
Joshua Bratton with Learn to Live Again. That's a beautiful album from start to finish. And Dead City Ruins with Shockwave. Excellent, excellent album. But once again, I couldn't fit him in my top 10.
Yeah, wow. I'm really curious about your top 10 now. It's going to be fucking out there. All right. For my Aussie mentions for 5 bands that couldn't quite scrape into the top 10, I raved about them before, but they didn't quite make it. The Neptune Power Federation with Le Demon de l'Amour couldn't quite squeeze it in, but that is such a good album that I want to give another shout out. Another one that caught me, the singles make so much more sense in the context of the EP. This is an EP you got to listen to from start to finish, and if you do, it will reward you. This is Ironstone with A Place I Cannot Find. That is such a good little release, that one. That band goes from strength to strength, and I think that is the template for where they should be moving to going forward. So they're Ironstone, The Place I Cannot Find. It couldn't quite get into the top 10. It's an EP. I struggle putting EPs in the top 10, but that is a stunningly good release either way. Followed up by Electric State with Green Machine. That is another cracking release from WA. I love what they did with that one visually and sonically with that one. It was a really good release. After that, I've got Toxicon with Be the Fire and Wish for the Wind. I know that Bell's probably got it in her top 10s because it is a worthy release of being in your top 10s. But for me, it just got beaten at the punch at the very end by just a small margin, but it is a stunningly good album. If you haven't checked out Toxicon, that is the one to do it on. Check it out on Bandcamp. It's not on streaming services for their reasons, and that's fair enough. But yeah, please do check out Toxicon, Be the Fire, and Wish for the Wind. And if you want to support the band, buy it. It's fucking well worth your time. And then finally, my last honorable mention here goes to Sonic Circus, Jimmy's band, with their EP Rise. The revisiting of previous songs is something I couldn't put in the top 10 because it's an EP and it's revisiting previous songs. But what they did with that EP, and I'm not normally a fan of going back to old songs and redoing them. I just don't think it's as viable as it could be. But what they did with that and how they did it, those songs I know so well. I know those songs from back to front. I've heard some of those songs from way, way, way back when. But they did such a good job with that EP. It's stunningly good to listen to it. It sounds great. The rearrangements, the little reworkings, not over the top, but just little bits and pieces, just made these songs so much better. It was just such a leap forward, and it was actually like a little breath of fresh air to get new music, quote unquote, from these guys this year. So Jimmy and the band, well done. That didn't quite make top 10. Jimmy will know why I struggle with EPs and top 10s, but that is just worthy of being mentioned because I think it's a stunningly good little EP. So go and check it out, please do. All right. Before we get to our top 10, our actual top 10s or your top releases for the year, does anyone else have anything they want to add right before we get stuck into the top 10s? Are we going to just launch in, or we got something to go? So, yes, okay.
Yeah. A song. There was a song. You mentioned songs, top songs. I think Lux Eterna should be in there. Lux Eterna.
Ah, nice.
Bloody good track.
Cool.
Bloody
Okay.
good track. Bloody good track. Also, you two, all of you are invited. You're all invited tomorrow night if you're around There's going to be a live. Oh, you're in Tassie. Sorry, I forgot about that.
See, Bell's like, no.
Can't do that. You guys are invited down to the Bendy tomorrow night. There's a live metal karaoke with a live band. So
Nice.
but it's going to be a more metal one. This one. It's not going to be. It's going to be metal and rock, but a little heavier than the usual one. So that's on tomorrow night down at the Bendy. I'll be singing a couple of songs.
Cool. I'd love to. It's actually my daughter's birthday tomorrow, so I can't make it. But no, have a great night. Yeah,
will do. And then there's that Wasp and Halford gig, the Wasp and Halford tribute show.
Yeah.
So Stay Gold as well. Yeah. So
nice.
That's
cool.
it. I'll shut up.
Well done. Well done. Does Jeff have anything out before we get to the top 10? Anything quickly?
Nope. No. No, I'm just thinking. I can't think of anything. I wrote some notes and stuff down, but
yeah, cool.
Yeah. Look, as you mentioned earlier, Eddie Vedder, Earthling. Yeah, get on it because it's great. I didn't expect anything from it either. I'm not a massive Pearl Jam fan, and so and then his solo stuff is then kind of. You have to be a really big fan to really like it, but it's interesting and it's a well done album, I thought, and it's quirky. It's quirky.
Yeah, it's different. It's cool for the journey. It's a good journey.
Right. That's right. So give that a listen if you haven't, as Andrew said earlier.
Cool. Anything there, Belle? You want to jump in with quickly?
Yes, I'd just like to say that I'm an idiot, and the last round. I thought that was the Aussie honourable mentions, but it wasn't. So my two Aussie bands were, we're supposed to be in this category. So
it's all good.
I have some international honourable mentions.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know what happened. A whole bottle of wine. That's probably what happened.
You're fitting right in. You're fitting right in.
I'm amazed that I'm capable of speaking properly.
Probably.
There we go. I thought,
inventing a new word there. Probably. Everybody.
This is good. We're going to get Belle and Nikki in the same room at the same time. That's going to be fun.
Oh, do it.
Wow.
No, continue though, please. It's fun.
I have no comments on that.
You're not as thished as you're not as thished as you think I am.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
Oh my god. I have some bands. So Dorothy, I thought that was an awesome album. That's my honourable mention. It didn't make it into my top 10, which is actually a top 6. So it sort of doesn't make sense. I have a top 6 and then I have some honourable mentions. But, that's how I compartmentalize my albums for the year. Yep. Kirk Hammett.
Yeah.
The Portals EP was great. High Plains Drifter, I thought was just it just blew me away. It was a masterpiece. The rest of the album, it was great. Not as good as that single, but it's still it was beautiful. Like what he's
really
putting out
engaging.
there. Nothing. Yes, totally. Nothing like Metallica. I won't go down that track because I will get a lot of hate mail as a result. So, Kirk Hammett, well done. And a band that no one has mentioned. They're another Christian metal. I think they're sort of a new metal band. They're called Becoming the Archetype. They're American. They put out an album this year. I don't remember what it was called, but it was really cool. I only listened to it once, but it made enough of an impression on me to announce it as an honourable mention.
Cool.
I might need to go and listen to it just to back that statement up, but it was great. So those are my 3 honourable mentions.
Cool. What was the band again for that last one? Sorry.
Becoming the Archetype.
Oh yeah, cool. I'm with you.
Children of the Great Extinction is the album they put out this year.
Yeah.
So if you're into new metal,
yep,
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
I gave it a quick skim and heard really good things. So yeah, that's what I want to dig into a bit deeper. Yeah, no, very nice, very very nice.
Yep. Yep.
Cool. All righty, let's get into the top 10s. I've got some here from the Patreon supporters. Also, I got Nick with his top 20, which Dave was helpful enough to send to me earlier tonight. So I don't have time to go trawling through everything. So Dave sent me a screenshot of Nick's little post here with his. What's he got here? So for Nick, who's on the show here and there, he's gone, after many years doing this, I've come to realize the more I overthink it, the more wrong I get it. So with that said, here are my top 20 albums for 2022. So number 20 was Pattern Seeking Animals with Only Passing Through. Number 19 with Chris Barris Band with Death Valley Paradise. 18, Naked Gypsy Queens, Georgiana. 17, Skid Row, The Gang's All Here. 16, Machine Head of Kingdom and Crown. 15, Scorpions, Rock Believer. Number 14, Helicopters, Eyes of Oblivion. Number 13, Porcupine Tree, Closure, Continuation. Number 12, Queensryche, Digital Noise Alliance. Number 11, Kiss and Dynamite, Not the End of the Road. Number 10, Goodbye June, Where the Night Goes. Number 9, Heat with Force Majeure. Number 8, Threshold, Dividing Lines. Number 7, Butch Walker as Glenn. Number 6, Collective Soul, Vibrating. Number 5, Borealis with Illusions. Number 4, Crash Diet, Automaton. Number 3, Ghost with Impera. Number 2, Seventh Wonder, The Testament. And number 1, Evergrey with A Heartless Portrait, The Orphean Testament. That's his number 1 album for the year. So that is from Nick, who you see here and there on the show. From the Patreon side of things, aside from our guests here tonight, we have Rowan with his top 10, which ended up being a top 4. I don't know how this works out, Rowan, but let us know how this worked out for you. But number 4 was Digital Noise Alliance by Queensryche. Number 3, Light Work by Devin Townsend. Now, that is different, but very well done, that album. Number 2, War of the Worlds Part 2 by Michael Romeo. And number 1, I Have Little to No Memory of These Memories by Toe Hider. That is an Aussie release, and a good one at that, for his number 1 release for this year. So that's Rowan Crawford's top 4. Darren gave me, though, a bunch here. So for the honorable mentions, he's got Spirit of Fire with Embrace the Unknown, Machine Head of Kingdom and Crown, Voivod Synchro Anarchy, Alter Bridge, Pawns and Kings, and Soilwork Overgiven Hairton. And then his top 10 are number 10, Girish and the Chronicles with Hail to the Heroes. Number 9, Ghost with Impera. Number 8, The Who with Rumble of Thunder. Number 7 is Hailstorm with Back from the Dead. Number 6 is the Neptune Power Federation with Le Demon de l'Amour. Number 5, Lamb of God, Omens. Number 4, Meshuggah with Immutable. Number 3, Arch Enemy with Deceivers. Number 2, Psychroptic with the Divine Council. And number 1, Parkway Drive with Darker Still. So there's a lot there coming from our Patreon and crew behind the scenes here. But without any further ado, let's kick this off. Dave, your top 10 for 2022.
Alrighty. Number 10, Five Finger Death Punch with Afterlife, the album that made me a fan of the band. Number 9, Ghost with Imperia, also an album that made me a fan of the band. Kids and Dynamite, Not the End of the Road, the album that made me go through their entire catalogue.
Cool.
Fantastic releases. Heat with Force Majeure, fantastic album.
Yep.
Couldn't be in my top 10 without Avantasia, The Paranormal Evening with the Moonflower Society. It's a fucking mouthful, like a Rob Zombie album.
Yes, it is.
Hardcore Superstar with Abracadabra. Excellent rock album.
Cool.
Crash Diet with Automation. Yes, we get to the top 3. Yeah. Wednesday 13 with Horrifier. Fantastic album from this stage in the man's career.
Yep.
Girish and the Chronicles with Hail to the Heroes. Excellent follow-up from the previous album. And my number 1 album is Hailstorm with Seventh Rum. The Seventh Rum. It's a fantastic album. Even if you don't like the pirate thing, just the music itself and the production, it's just a fantastically sounding album with great performances, with some fantastic lyrics and a whole lot of fun. So my album of the year, Hailstorm.
Nice. Cool, man. Well done. All right. From there, let's jump to Conrad next. What are your top 10 or whatever you've got for this year?
I didn't quite have 10, unfortunately, because I had to compile this list within an hour. And there was a lot. There was a lot there. There was a lot there to. That's all right. There's a lot there to try and and deal with in that hour. However, I got 4, and they were obviously Porcupine Tree with Closure and Closure Continuing.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great record. Clutch, of course, Sunrise on Slaughter Beach, another great record. Queensryche Digital Alliance, another fantastic record. And as much as it was a disappointment to me, it's still a good record, and that is obviously Megadeth, The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead. It still makes it into my top 4. Still makes it into my top 4, even though I'm disappointed with it.
Everyone's minds are blown right now. Like, what the fuck?
You're a conflicted man, Conrad. You're very
it makes it into my top 4, even though I was
21st century schizoid man. We're here.
Yeah, as I said, it's not a terrible album. So
No.
it makes my top 4.
I think Bell's hopes are getting slowly more raised as things go on. Between that comment now and the audience choice vote, maybe it's not as bad as I was afraid of before.
Yeah, it still makes like the top 4. Top 4 list.
All right, let's go to Jeff next. What are your final lists for the year?
Okay, so my top 10 list. Number 10, Queensryche with Digital Noise Alliance. Even if the verdict from 2019 was better, it had to be in there.
Yeah.
Record. Number 9, Threshold, Dividing Lines.
Ooh, is that the British prog band, prog metal band, British prog metal band? Great band. I've seen them a couple of times. Bloody good band. Bloody good band. Yeah.
Fantastic band.
Yeah.
Number 8, Blind Guardian with the God Machine.
Cool.
Okay, I like the album artwork as well. I think it's really nice. I like it. A lot of
that album for me actually made me more of a fan. That band I've not hated, but I've just sort of been hit and miss. That album made me much more of a fan of that band. They're another band that can you either like them or hate them, and they have a very similar sound throughout their albums. It's very, I think if you really want to give them a shot, and you've never listened to Nightfall and Middle Earth, it's all about Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
So it's the story of how Sauron became Sauron.
Cool.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
So it's really about Morgoth, his man, which is kind of what the Rings of Power was sort of aiming for.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Only they did it in '94.
Yeah.
Also, that's an ongoing theme through Blind Guardian's albums, isn't it? Tolkien.
Yes.
Tom Key seems to be inspiration.
Correct.
Yeah.
They have touched on his stuff a lot.
Right.
Well, on that album, they had the one that was inspired by The Witcher, which is cool as well. So, the elves.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, they're just a good band. They are. They're a very good band. Okay, so that was number 8. So number 7, Arch Enemy, Deceivers. Yeah. Actually, this album, it's in my top 10 because I like it, but I don't think it's as strong as the previous album. And I was hoping for more. It's kind of like the Megadeth thing, although that did not make my fucking top 10.
Feel the burn! Feel the burn!
I was hoping for more, and I liked it. It's one of those albums that I probably listened to maybe 5 or 6 times since it came out. Yeah. It hasn't grabbed me yet, but it's good enough that I go back and give it a listen. Whereas the Megadeth was like, what the fuck? And that was
it. Feel the burn.
Wow. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's it. All right, number 6. Now, this band, I was really hoping for a great album, and they delivered. And that is Soilwork with Overgiven Hayton. I guess that's how you say it. Overgiven Hayton?
Overgiven Hayton, yeah.
Yeah. That album is fantastic. And I was really hoping for a lot from them, and they delivered. So
they rarely disappoint.
That's correct. Now, this next album, this is what I was talking about earlier. I never would have thought in a million fucking years that a top 10 I would put Slipknot as in my top 10.
Wow.
The End so far. It's just great. It's just fucking great. And so, that just goes to show you can dislike something Megadeth and still actually make it in the top 10 Megadeth. Yeah. No.
I mean, I've never got Slipknot. I've never got it. I
never got it either.
I never got it. But I mean, if it comes from another fellow Rush fan, then I'm gonna have to check it out. I'm gonna have to have a look.
That album you have to. The End So Far is.
I don't know how they fucking did it.
All right, because I've always written them off as a joke.
The End So Far. It's
or at least they were
figured out.
Yeah, I always saw them as kiddie metal. I just saw them as like little kiddie fucking metal band, you know.
Yeah.
All right, I'll check it out.
Musically, it's fucking brilliant, and coming from someone who, like I said, I would rather attend an album burning of Slipknot than fucking listen to one album. This is a high praise for me. So take it,
Exactly.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next album is another band that has never been one of my favorites. They've always been on the fringe. I've always sort of liked what they've done, but I never thought that what they did was good enough that I would want to listen to on repeat. And that's just Korn with Requiem.
Wow, cool. Good choice.
Yeah.
What's happening?
I don't know what's happening to me.
You're turning into a new metaler.
No, I'm not, and that's the thing. I'm really not. But look, it's credit where credit is due. So I will give it.
Good album.
It's a very good album, and it's strong, and it's one of those ones that rewards you the more you listen to it. You start to hear things. What's the singer? Jonathan? What's the singer's name? Jonathan
Davis.
Jonathan Davis. Yeah, he's fucking phenomenal on this album. It's really, really good. Okay. And the next album, this is now we're in my top 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So the top 3, I was actually debating whether I should put number 3 and number 5, which is change it with Slipknot.
Wow.
But I decided that I would leave it where it is. So number 3 for me is Rammstein Zeit.
Right. Yeah.
Okay?
Cool.
Great album. Fantastic album. I think they just don't put out bad shit. Like everything that they do
they're so consistent.
is quality and great. Consistently great.
Yep.
I can't think of anything that they've done that I went, what the fuck is that? They don't have any Megadeth moments.
Yeah.
It's all great.
Yeah.
We shit on Megadeth tonight. Okay. So, well, if the shoe fits. And then top 2. This was a challenge. This was a real challenge for me. But I called it when I first heard it. It came out in March, I think, of earlier this year. I almost said last year, but this year. And that's Ghost Impera.
Yeah.
It's just a great album. There's not a bad song on it. Tobias, they call him Tobias Forge, but it's actually Tobias Forga. So I'm going to say it the way his name actually is pronounced. He can write songs like nobody of his generation. I think he's just he's one of these guys that has he's like a sponge. He's absorbed all these different things from bands that he loved, and somehow he's able to regurgitate it in a way that sounds great. The lyrics are intelligent, and he's just a hit writing machine.
It's original.
It's original. Whether I know, Conrad, you mentioned that you're not a big fan of Ghost because of the satanic lyrics, but you got to understand that in Sweden, where they're from, Satan it's a joke to them. There's no really real religion in Sweden like we have here or in the West, and so their religion over there is just as they can talk about Satan like they can talk about Mary Poppins. It's the same thing. It doesn't mean anything to them. Right. But of course, it's meant to be tongue in cheek as well. Yeah. And my album of the year, number 1 album, and it's much deserved. It was a big surprise. I didn't think that it was ever going to happen, and I'm glad it did. And it gave him his first number 1 solo album of his career, and that's Ozzy, Patient Number 9.
Cool.
His first, can you believe that? All the stuff he's done, this is his first #1 album. He had a #1 album with 13, Black Sabbath, but that wasn't him solo, right? Amazing. And so, you know, he's 74. He doesn't have that many more years to go. I think he won't live out the decade. I don't think. I mean, I'd love to see it, but he's in pretty bad shape as it is now. He can hardly walk. I don't think he's going to be touring again. I've seen him 3 times plus Sabbath all original, so I'm happy. So
this is just such a stunning return to form. Like it was
absolutely.
Yeah,
it's like Andrew Watts. Andrew Watts has just given Ozzy a lease on life that he hasn't had. The previous album, Ordinary Man. It's a decent album.
I liked it a lot, actually. Yeah.
It's got some really good songs. You know, that Post Malone song on there, the duet with Elton John, the title track.
Yeah.
Great stuff. There's some good stuff on there, but there's just something about this new album. It just takes it to another level.
It feels familiar. It feels like coming home.
Have you got you got Jeff Beck and Eric Clapton on it as well? Yeah,
correct.
Wow.
Tony Iommi, Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton.
Wow.
Zach Wild, Dave Navarro's on it. Believe it or not, Chad Smith.
He does the whole thing. Does
most of it.
Taylor Hawkins is on a couple of tracks.
Taylor Hawkins does a couple of tracks as well. That's right. Chad Smith does most of it.
I've always thought of Chad Smith as being incredibly unutilized. He's a good drummer, but he's so unutilized in Chili Peppers. He's never fully utilized.
He doesn't get the music. That's right.
That's right. You know he's skilled. But maybe on this he's like has a lot more freedom to. There's a lot more freedom to do. Yeah.
Have you listened to the full album? Have you listened to it all?
No, I'm really like keen now. Frothing at the mouth. Frothing at the mouth.
Get out of here. Put it on.
Yeah, frothing at the mouth.
It's without a doubt the best thing that Ozzy's done since No More Tears.
Oh wow, that's a big call. That's a big call.
Without a doubt, that's not up for debate. I've been a Ozzy fan.
I loved Osmosis.
Yes, Osmosis was good. I love Old LA Tonight. It's I like that song. It's just got some good songs. I've had Desire floating in my head for the last week or so. That song Desire. That's on Osmosis.
Down to Earth is good. I like Down to Earth.
Okay. Yeah.
Down to Earth is a good song, and it's got that ballad they did with his daughter, Amy.
Did Zach left on a few? He has a sort of an on and off relationship with Zach, doesn't he? He's not on every record.
Scream was the only album that Zach wasn't on.
Scream was the only one he's not on.
So Gus, the guy from Firewind, Gus G.
Yeah.
And so
but he's on all the others. Okay.
Pretty much,
Right.
From No Rest for the Wicked on.
Yeah,
it's all Zach. Except there's a couple songs on. I think the one song on Osmosis was Steve Vai, and that was only the song I think that didn't make was My Little Man.
Right.
I think it was either a single or it didn't make the album. It made the Japanese cut of it.
Right.
But if you guys have not heard this album,
I will. I'm definitely going to check this out then.
Seriously, it's great album. And as I said before, I really tossed up between, Fozzy, the boombox as well. Even though it's kind of like my honorable mention for #1. It's kind of those albums, are that good that it almost deserved it. But I'm going to give #1 to Ozzy, and he deserves it. And I'm fucking done. Thank you.
All right.
Seems to be a lot of people's #1, like your voters' choice.
The audience choice.
Audience like that one as well. So I'm gonna have to definitely look at this.
Mate. If you haven't listened to it, you gotta check it out for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. Mr. Midnight. Oh, what a song!
Yeah,
another great song. Yeah, Mr. Sid Midnight, Dead and Gone. The title track. There's even a really weird bluesy thing that Ozzy's done, an actual blues song.
But the groove across the album is what sells it. Yeah.
And some will say, Ozzy's been, maybe he put his vocals up through auto-tune. Who gives a fuck? He's 74 years old.
Seriously, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds great, and yeah, ultimately it's his voice, whether it's been pitched correctly or not. Who cares?
I don't think it's got that much on it. There's
No, it doesn't. But there is some there. There's no
double
question.
track. It's layered, but beyond that, it's just the vocal effect. It's just going back to his early days with his tone with the EQ. That's all they've done. They've emulated that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
look, it is what it is. It's great. Number one, get on it.
Cool. Alrighty, Belle, we made you wait. Hopefully you're still awake with us there. It's a long night.
Sorry, Belle. Sorry, Belle.
What's in your final list, Belle?
Well, I have a top 6, but I would like to just comment on Jeff's number 1,
Beautiful.
if I may.
Yeah.
So I haven't listened to this album, and the reason for that is I don't like Ozzy Osbourne. I don't like his singing. I'm probably going to make... So,
that's a good reason. That's a good
reason. Yeah. There you are. You're gonna be popular with the listener. You're gonna be popular with the viewers.
I know. But surely there is someone that agrees with me. I'm sure.
Probably is.
Probably is. Do you hate the guy, or you just can't get into it?
I don't hate Ozzy Osbourne. I don't feel anything about Ozzy Osbourne.
Okay, just doesn't flick your switch. Just doesn't flick your switch.
I hate him. You know, yep, he just doesn't. I'm a
okay.
You know,
it's all right.
We could go the Dio thing, but I won't. The Dio's awesome and way better. But anyway, we won't go there. I just
love it.
I didn't hear anything that was said about. I heard about all these musicians that were contributing to this album, the Zakk Wyldes, the whoever's. No one actually said anything about Ozzy's contribution to Ozzy's album, and I found that really interesting.
He sounds great. He's vocal.
He wrote it.
He wrote it. He wrote the songs.
He did write it.
Yeah, he did. He has got a writing project. It's not like they just propped him up there and he sung.
He wrote it all.
Yeah.
He had help. I mean, it wasn't just him.
He had help. But Ozzy's always had help. So he's had no more help on this album than any other album in the past. So
his best album with his albums that had the best writing was actually from an Australian named Bob Daisley.
Bob Daisley.
Yeah.
He's lived and born in Sydney. Played with Ozzy on his first 2 albums.
Yep.
And then was fired, and then came back and wrote for the next 4. That's how much
Why was he fired?
And he worked with Rainbow. He was in Rainbow. Yeah. He played with Dio in Rainbow.
He was fired because he was outspoken a little bit. He wanted to keep the drummer, and Sharon didn't like that. So it was all right, you got to go. But Ozzy was like, but he writes great fucking songs. You got to get him back. So they brought him back. In fact, they brought him back. He ended up writing, I think the last album he wrote didn't play, was it?
He hasn't played on an album for a while.
The last album he played on was No Rest for the Wicked. He played all of it. Geezer Butler is like, the live, but Bob Daisley did all the bass and he wrote all the lyrics. For the first 6 albums, every fucking lyric was Bob Daisley.
That's right. She and Sharon had them re-recorded without him on.
Sharon had it. I'm sorry, but that we all know what she is.
Sacrilege.
That's actually probably one of the worst things. Sorry, Bill, I didn't mean to steal your thunder. I'm sorry, I've interrupted.
I asked.
But yeah, that's just terrible. You did. That's
bad form.
That's
bad form.
Well, just imagine, Randy Rhoads is turning in his grave, because he hears 2 guys that they never even met the guy, and they digitally took out the original players because they had the audacity to say, "Can we get the money that we were owed?" No, fuck you, we're taking you off. So they took them off the album, got 2 new guys, put them on, and re-recorded the albums so they wouldn't get any royalties.
That's Sharon. That's Sharon. That's Sharon.
And now they've been since put back because the fan backlash was so great.
So big.
They had to put them back. Yeah.
So I should fucking think so. Good. well done.
Yeah,
that they
yeah,
got
that was
back on.
absolutely
Yeah.
shocking. That still makes me angry.
Okay.
Bells,
Sorry.
I was like, what did I walk into?
Oh,
Yeah, well, you've
I'm so sorry.
opened up a can of worms there, girl.
I've been a fan of Ozzy since he was in Sabbath. So yeah.
Carry on, Sharon.
Sorry.
Well, Bell,
Carry on, Mel. Carry on,
Go
Mel.
on.
what are you
It's
opening
okay.
up next?
Perhaps I was stalling so I could, have a couple of minutes, more to sober up before I
Nice.
launched.
Well, you got
into
your
my
minutes.
High five. All right, we did it.
So thank you for that. I would like to hear more, but not today.
Yeah, another time.
No, not today.
It's only
All right.
1 a.m.
So look, I want to hear Andrew's top 10. I'm fascinated. I want to know.
In a moment. Well, let's get through yours first, and I'll get to mine. It's all good.
All right. Well, look, my top 10 is actually a top 6, so hopefully it'll be short. In no particular order, because I can't. I've tried, but I can't sort them. I just can't. It depends on what I'm in the mood for, and that varies. That has varied since these albums came out. However, I will start with Arch Enemy because they are the latest band. It's the latest album that I've gotten into.
Cool.
And I think it's awesome. The more I listen to it, the more I love it. Especially the first song where Alyssa, she just sings. She's got an actual a voice that isn't just harsh vocals. And I wish she would do more of that because she sounded amazing. So hopefully the next album they allow her to.
Are they coming out here? Are they coming out here?
I haven't heard yet.
Are they coming out here? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, they are. They're coming out in March, I think.
Yeah, I thought they were coming.
They're not coming to Hobart.
I had the impression of coming.
I actually got to meet them when she sang backup for Camelot.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow.
So I did the whole meet and greet and did the whole band thing.
Was that with Khan?
No, it was Matt Karavik.
I've seen him with Khan.
I would have loved to see him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Reckon. Awesome. Good band.
So jealous. Yeah. Actually, can I steal something that Dave does? Dave has props and does a show and tell. So because I'm collecting vinyl this year, so I want to collect my favorite albums from each year. So today, the plastic isn't even off. I bought the vinyl.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Can't wait to rip that off and crank that. In an uncompressed style. It's going to be awesome.
Beautiful.
I haven't. The next one is a band called Zemblin. I think I mentioned them earlier for album art. I heard this album and just really grabbed me.
Something grabbed her.
Tassie. All right, you'll have to edit that, Andrew, later on.
Oh, we'll see how we go. We might just let it run for a bit and see if she jumps back into the meeting.
Okay, yeah.
I'm getting back into Sharon Osbourne, and I think
Fuck.
She's.
I hope she comes back.
I hope so too. Just messaging. So
maybe there's a timer on Tassie. You can only be online for so long. They just go.
You do realize there's still steam powered down there, you know.
Oh, here we go. Oh no,
Someone's out the back on a bicycle, you know, pedaling away. Pedaling away to get the generator going.
You said 12 o'clock, you said 12 o'clock.
Yeah. Pedaling the generator.
Oh no, Belle, what happened? Oh my
Sorry.
goodness. Okay. Well, I've hit her up on Discord. Hopefully she'll respond. Okay. All right. Well, for now, I guess we'll go through. Here we go. Hang on. We got to come back.
Just come back. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Come back.
Hello again. How you going?
Hey,
Welcome
back.
I dropped out.
She's back.
You got the steam in. You got the steam engine. You restoked the steam engine.
Top six. We were literally treading water, waiting for you to come back in. So I'm glad you jumped back in. So
we were.
Yeah.
All right. So far you've listened
to us. Talking to myself for a minute. So that's all right. I did that anyway.
Yeah. So you had
I don't know.
So far. You're up to Semblant.
Okay, cool.
You were talking about Semblant when you dropped out.
Semblant, awesome. Vermilion Eclipse, check them out. A Brazilian melodic death metal, very cool. The guys did a review when the album was released much earlier in the year. I think both of you liked it.
Yeah.
From memory. So, you know, you can't go wrong if both the guys who are experts in music give it a good review.
Expert is a little term here.
Well, that's what I think. And the next band is a Greek symphonic death metal band that anyone who I think might like this, I will force upon Andrew. I think I've told you have to listen to this. I don't care when, but give it a go. The band is called Septic Flesh. It's a horrible band name. I don't like it. But
Septic Flesh,
Septic Flesh, yes.
They came out here a few years ago. Came out here a few years ago,
They probably didn't come to Hobart. But I only I've only known about them for a short while. So if they come out again, I'll have to kind of jump on that. I would love to see them live. I don't know if they would come out with a full orchestra, but that would be amazing.
I think they came out with Flesh God Apocalypse. I think it was the two of them together. I think it was a package. It was a package. Wow. The pair of them came together. Yeah.
Cool looking albums. Holy fuck! They look really good art.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, here we go.
Here we go. Awesome.
See that? I got the vinyl.
Hang on. Hold it up. Hold it.
He'll make you big.
And where are these guys? These are Greek, are they?
They're Greek.
They're Greek.
And it actually really, it really comes through in some of their. Oh, there we go. It's funny because the album art.
There we go. We're getting there.
There we go.
Nice.
So they have the late 90s. Huh?
They have a different cover for the one that's on Spotify. So I don't know what that's about, but maybe it's a country of origin thing. Anyway, maybe. So amazing. They're death metal, so they have mostly harsh vocals, but they sort of touch on
Modern Primitive.
Vocals
is that the one?
Sorry,
Modern Primitive, is that the one?
Yes, Modern Primitive. Yep. I probably should have said that at the start. So their album that released this year, 2022, Septic Flesh. Work it out. Very cool. Just a bit different. I think maybe that's why I liked it. I like classical music, and so I love a classical music and death metal. I think it's just the most amazing combination. So they just do it really well, and I think they've got a good following. So it's something a bit different. It's in my top 6. I was obsessed with this album when it came out. I will still be happy to listen to it at any point.
Nice.
I'll check it in.
And so what else have I got? Sorry, I'll try not to take too long. Oh, Rammstein.
Yeah.
Rammstein.
Yeah.
Zeit. Like it just starts off. I'm terrible with the pronunciation of these songs, but Ahmed Tristan.
Is it?
I don't know.
With Rammstein, with the lyrics, do you ever get English interpretations of their lyrics anywhere? Can you get them?
No.
Yes, you can.
You
can get them, but they don't come. They don't come with the. They don't come with the rec. They don't come with the album, or
No, not at all.
right? Okay, all right. Because
they've done one official release in English. They've done a couple of B-sides in English, and the rest is all in German.
Because I used to have an Austrian girlfriend who I think spent a lot of time in Germany. She spoke German, and she told me she told me the lyrics are pretty fucked up. They're pretty messed up. Yeah.
My ex was German, and I've understood German quite sometimes. So I understand more than I can say, but their lyrical content is quite twisted, and it's not for the faint of heart, particularly some songs. But
right, okay, yeah.
But Armée de Tristan is the song you're thinking of for the opener, Belle?
The opening song, the opening track, when that starts, it fills my heart with joy. You know, it just, here we go. It's like the same feeling I get when the first song of Mutter comes on. I'm blanking on the first song there. Yes, it just, here we go kind of thing. We're in for a fun ride. Doesn't matter how many times you listen to it.
The string section does it,
Yeah, I think, maybe that's it. I don't know. It's just the whole thing, the melodies and the chord progressions.
And the spoken vocal.
I don't know what it is, but they're just, the whole thing. I love it. There's not a bad song on that album.
Yeah. How many albums have they got now, Andrew?
8.
8. Wow. Yeah. And where's a good starting place? Where's the best starting place? Where would be the best starting place?
Everyone knows Du Hast, but I would suggest either
is that the album title? Is that the album title?
Sehnsucht is the album title that comes. Right. I would suggest either starting with Mutter or with the Untitled album, so the Rammstein album, which has like a matchstick on the cover.
Right. I've seen them. I've seen them a couple of times, about 3 times, but I've never listened to them on record. But I've seen them, and I know some of the songs, obviously, because I hear them in goth clubs in London, and rock clubs and stuff. So you know them.
There's so much more than than what people think they are. So I would start with Mutter or with the self-titled album.
Okay.
Unless you think, Belle, do you agree with that or?
Yeah.
Look, I think yes, or even start with their latest and work back.
All right.
I don't think you would
do that.
All right. Yeah.
Go wrong with that.
Sure.
How do you say that album was? Sehnsucht or
Sehnsucht. Sehnsucht. The second album,
Sehnsucht, that's the one with Du Hast,
That's the one with Du Hast on it. But it's got Engel and Buch dich and other ones. Stripped is the English cover on that one.
Oh.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I heard them, it was in a nightclub one night, and way back in the late 90s, and this song came on. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is fucking awesome. It was so good.
Yeah.
It was different. Yeah, they
just cut through. There was something different. If they got your attention back then, you've stayed with them ever since.
Sorry, Belle, carry on.
Sorry. That's fine. I agree with Andrew. If you sort of took the time to think, all right, well, it doesn't matter that I can't understand what they're saying. I'm going to listen to this more than what Du Hast is, because it's certainly not their best song. Just you'll realise just how talented they are as songwriters.
Alternatively, Conrad, if you want something different that's not a studio album, check out the live performance of the Paris DVD.
Mm-hmm.
That one, the cinematography combined with the song choices, they even do a part. They're known for their pyro, but they do a part on the Paris album, which is In the Round. That's so good.
I think I saw the same tour. So I saw that tour. It was about 3 years ago. 4 years
ago.
I saw that tour. That was the same tour I saw. Yeah.
That Paris DVD is something else. I don't know if you've seen that one, Belle, but that's I love it.
But I don't know how to stand. I can't think of another band that can speak another language and can release an album, and you can't understand what. I mean, I'm not being an asshole, but I can't understand German. Save my life, and
be they successful.
Fucking amazing. Yes, exactly. Yeah. What other band can do that?
I think it's because of the tone and the voice, the tone. It's that militantness, the militant sound that they've got in that barking kind of militant drive goes with the marching. The marching sound goes with the voice, and that's why it works.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you want straight up metal, old school metal or thrash based metal, Alien Weaponry in the tongue.
Right.
My God.
Okay.
That's stunning.
Yeah. Great band.
Alien Weaponry. Check out 2.
Is there an Australian band doing something like an Indigenous Australian metal band?
There's the closest I found personally so far is
something like that here.
Southeast Desert Metal. They did that Desert Burning cover in their native tongue. So
That'd be cool.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, check that out. That's cool.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see an Indigenous Australian band do a metal they're
doing really well.
Yeah.
Southeast Desert Metal. There's another one I got sent earlier this year. We didn't get a chance to listen to it yet, but we did one that we got sent to us. There's another one out there I want to check out as well. But yeah, Southeast Desert Metal are the one that I most know of, but there's another one out there as well I will dig into as the new year rolls through. So yeah, there's some out there which is good. I'm grateful for that. Yeah,
that is cool. Yeah.
Cutting into Bell's time so bad.
Sorry.
No. That's fine.
Come on, we gotta wrap it up.
I'll shut up.
It's getting really late.
Yeah.
Finish off with your albums.
I am delaying things. All right. So again, remember this is no particular order. Heat.
Oh, here we go. Heat.
Love them.
Nice.
Love them. They are so good. Just great.
Does Heat actually stand for something?
Yeah.
Don't think so.
No, because it is. It does look like an acronym, doesn't it? With the dots.
It does.
Although there's no dots on that, so.
Yeah, I don't think it actually stands for anything. From memory. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hot.
I'm going to Google that.
Go for it. Let me know.
You never know, right? Wasp is the first one to do that anyway.
Sorry. Yeah.
Please continue.
They're great. Force Majeure.
Yeah.
Listen to it. It's awesome. Excellent album. And last but not least, Toxicon. Yes,
Nice.
you're right. Yeah. Andrew. It did make it into my top 10. Be the Fire and Wish for the Wind.
Great.
Oh my God, these guys! It makes me feel proud to be a Victorian, knowing that these guys came out and can just put this sort of music out. Every time I listen to it, it's just it's not all just elitist. In fact, elitist is probably different to a lot of the other tracks. They're all they're very different. They're just so intricate. So it doesn't matter how many times I put this album on. I feel like I'm hearing something new each time.
New every time. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And the songs are so varied. You'll get something slow and chuggy like Deletist, and then sort of proggy like I think Husk. I think Husk is an amazing track.
Yeah.
Just really worth spending the money because they've got this out on YouTube, but Bandcamp, if you want to give to the band, it's well worth it. But they do have a couple of singles on Spotify as well. One of them is sorry, I'm just
go for it.
Show it here. Parallelist. I'm amazed I actually got that word out.
Parallelist, yeah.
Parallel. It was their first single from the album, and I bought this, and the boys signed it for me, which was great.
Nice, so, that's awesome. Hang on, let me sing it solo. Hold it up.
Yes.
There we go. Beautiful. There we go. Nice.
There we go.
Yeah.
So again, you guys did a review on it, which I loved because you loved it. And I agreed with your review. So thanks for that.
When it's good, it's easy to love it. That's the thing.
Yeah. So that's my top 6 anyway. Thanks for that.
Nice. Awesome. Well, we got there. I'll wrap up mine quickly. We'll do a final bit and we'll get out of here because it is getting very late now as we do this one. For my final top 10 for 2022, starting at number 10 and working my way through, we got Hailstorm with Back from the Dead. That was such a return to form that was welcome to me. I really enjoyed it. I thought where Into the Wildlife, they sort of lost their way a bit. This one brought them right back on point. So that is a great album. Number 9, Evergrey, A Heartless Portrait. Hard to go past that album. I mean, these guys released one that made my top 10s last year. Every time they release one, it's guaranteed to make the top 10. They just don't do anything wrong, these guys. I love Evergrey a bit. So A Heartless Portrait, fantastic release. Number 8 is Nazareth with Surviving the Law. Not only was the best song of the year on that album, but the rest of the album is fantastic as well. Well and truly worth your time, definitely. Next up, we have Orianthe with Rock Candy. I think that album title is one of the best album titles for what is on the album. Like, it fits. You've got the rock, you got the candy, you got everything, and it's just so well done. Orianthe, for mine, both her guitar work and her vocals, completely underrated. Completely underrated. Mm-hmm. I think that there is... What she has to offer is so good, and if you like this, check out the previous album, Oh, because I love that to death as well. Like, both back-to-back stunning releases. Orianthe is on a fucking tear, and well done to her. I hope there's much more to come. Next up, we have Dead Sea Ruins with Shockwave. I think that is a fantastic release. Could be, if not close to, it is the best release from the band yet. I think the lineup changes worked for them. They've done everything right with it, so well done to them on that front. This is a great album from a great band. Next up at number 5 is The Who with Rumble of Thunder. I couldn't go past this one. It got a 10 out of 10 for me when I reviewed it earlier this year. One of those bands and one of those albums that I can't get enough of, and the way they've evolved and grown from the first album, the Gereg, to this one now, it's organic, it's natural, it fits. And hearing something different, something original with them doing in the Mongolian tongue is just so well done. I live for things that are different. When you listen to 400 albums a year, you kind of look for that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. This one jumped out and grabbed me straight away, and I love these guys. I think they're fantastic. And one of those ones with alien weaponry that can really change the shape of things to come over the next 5 to 10 years or more. Number 4, a local artist here that we... what he's done with this album is nothing short of phenomenal. Joshua Batten with Learn to Live Again. That is just such a good release. Like, it's not the most hard rock thing in the world at all. Like, it's really not. But if you like rock music with good storytelling and a bit of folk in there, my God, it's hard to go past this one. It's so well done. The performances, the writing, the songs, it's just pristine. So Joshua Batten, take a bow. Like, this is your best work yet, and fuck, if this is where you're going to go, where you go next from here, I don't know. Like, this is so well done. Fucking congrats. Top 3 time. Number 3 was Arcane Saints with This Is Primal, and it's not a chop out. This is just something I fucking love to death. I think the songs from top to bottom on this are fantastic. The lead single was fucking perfect, but across the whole album you get such a ride, such a journey, and there's no two songs alike, even though it all fits together. It's so well done. Performances are great, writing is good, production A1, hard to fault it. I love it to bits. It's got a 10 out of 10 for me as well. Then my top 2 are 2 of my favorite bands, which is no mean feat here, and it's actually kind of neck and neck for these ones. But number 2 just is Rammstein with Zeit. And the only reason why is that because the previous album was so gripping, it was just like, oh my God. This one is more of a slower burn. And it just takes that little bit longer to get its fangs into you. But once it does, it doesn't let go. And Rammstein, they don't put a foot wrong. And for me, having the previous album, this one so close together is actually really welcome to me. And I loved having this one out this year. And then my number 1 is going to be, again, these guys always come number 1 for some reason, but Ghost with Impera. I can't go past them. I love them to bits. I think they're fantastic. I think that Tobias and what he does with that outfit is just unlike anything else out there. It's so well done. Like Jeff said earlier on, they take all the influences and then regurgitate it into something new and fresh and original and interesting. And the way they combine hooks with, the darkness and the riffs is just something else. I love what they do, and they never fail to impress. So Ghost Imperium, my number 1 album for this year. That's that. one final bit of business for this year, and that is a final bin for 2022. So we're going to go to a final bin, and we'll get out of here because it's a late night now as we film this one. It's been a long, long session. So I got a little bit of bin here from Rowan. Rowan sent a bin in, and this is from him. So for Rowan's bin for this year, podcasts, believe it or not. Funny considering it's us, because it's at this end. It's this end of the year. I realised how little music I listen to because of podcasts in 2022. So he's binning podcasts for taking away his listening time from new music, which is a fair point. I'll pay that one, but it's kind of weird to do that considering we are in that world.
Yeah.
So, all righty, let's do the rounds. Dave, I'll get to you in a second, but let's go to Conrad next. What's your final bin for the year? You got one?
I think after as I said, that business in Brixton Academy, people turning up to concerts without tickets and rushing into a venue and resulting in killing people. Yeah. Those people can fuck right off. And that would never happen in the metal world, in the rock world. It wouldn't happen. So, yeah. So I guess that doesn't really apply to us, I suppose. Doesn't really apply to this show, really.
Good
so,
bin, though. Very good bin.
They go in the bin. They go in the bin. Yeah.
Nice. All right, Belle, you got something for the bin? You going to feed the bin for the first time?
Yes, I can feed the bin for the first time. So this is a year-round gripe of mine, but particularly this time of year. Car parks. You're going into a car park and people who sort of make everyone else behind them wait. Well, you know, mum puts in the shopping and the kid and everything, and you have to sit there while someone sits there with their indicator waiting, you know, up to 5 minutes just so they can take the park. Fuck off. Move on. Like, I know this is petty, but it pisses me off because I'm busy. I have shit to do. Like, just go and find another park, and, you know, the person who comes in at the time that person pulls out, that's their park, not yours. So, yeah, that's my bin.
I love it. That's great. The pettier, the better. Well done, Bill. Yep. Very well done. All righty. Jeff, one last bin for 2022. What do you got?
Well, I've said it before, and so I'm going to repeat a little bit, but I'm going to take kind of what you think the last time you put this guy in the bin, I'm going to put him in there as well. So, Kanye in the fucking bin. Yay. And another dickhead by the name of Matt Walsh, he can get fucking in the bin too. And to top it off, Donald Trump and his fucking toupee in the fucking bin. And don't get out again, you fucking prick. Seriously, I don't like getting too political, but that guy is a wanker and never should have been president and hopefully never is again.
Agree from me. Agree from me.
Yep.
I'm good with that.
Fair enough.
All righty. Dave, what have you got?
You know, when you're wrapping presents and you're cutting the paper, you've got that really cool glide happening, you're feeling like the king of the fucking world, and then you get to that last 5% and it just stops. That last 5% can get in the bin. Because you feel like a fucking champion for 95% of the paper cut, but not the last 5% just fuck you.
Nice.
Oh, man, I love you to bits. That is the fucking best one. That is great. Oh, fuck, I should let you get last. Oh, that's priceless. All right. For my bin, for the last bin, I can't top that. So I'm not going to try. That's perfect, Dave. Well done. All right. For me, it's just the fact there's not enough time. There's so much we missed this year. So much more. Yeah. Like, I'm looking for next year to be bigger, but fuck, there was just so much we just didn't get around to this year. I love what we do. I love the support we get from the people here in particular, but I just wish there was more time to just sort of capture everything because there's so much to do and I want to do so much more. But aside from that, the general meanness in the world, like it's so much easier to scroll past or to be kind. It takes more effort to be mean. And just I want to see in 2023, hopefully, that we're just a little less mean to each other in person or online, take your pick, but just you know, it's not hard to be kind. It takes more effort to be mean. So just a bit more kindness in the world. The meanness in general can go in the bin for mine. And that concludes the bin for 2023. thank you everyone for tuning in. Hopefully you've enjoyed this little presentation. It's a longer one, probably our longest top 10s ever, Dave. I reckon it's been a bit of a marathon. But no, it's been an absolute blast, and thank you to everyone for tuning in over the year, and hopefully you've enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments, as always, your favourite albums or whatever category, floats your boat. Let us know your picks of the year as we go through these things in the comments as you go through. A big thank you, of course, to our fantastic sponsors in Squid Ink Screenprinting, Alt-Cvlt Rockstar Finance. Check out their details and give them a like, a follow, or a share. That'd be greatly appreciated. They help us so much to help us do what we do here. So help them by just paying attention online. It doesn't cost you anything. Just give them a like or a follow. It's greatly appreciated by us here. And that about does it for another year. We'll be back again in a few weeks when we get back into the swing of things. We've got a lot of things planned already for the new year. Dave and I have been talking about what's coming up in 2023. It's looking like a massive year. Like, fuck me dead. Like, there's so much to get through already. We're barely started.
Are you guys at that Glamfest? You going to Glamfest?
Dave is.
Yeah, I'll be going to Glamfest. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Wednesday, 13 in Flips, man.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there. Okay.
I will try to get there if I can, but we'll see how things play out. But for now, that's a wrap on 2022. We're back again in a couple of weeks with a new beginning in 2023. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Thank you to everyone that supported us over this year, including our Patreon supporters, including our guests here tonight. A big thank you to everyone for just everything this year. It's been massive. It's been a big year. We've got bigger plans for next year. We'll see how it all shakes out. But yeah, there's a lot going on. Dave and I have been talking about, like I said, there's just so much to do that it's not even close to funny. But we're very excited, aren't we, Dave, for what's coming up?
Oh, yeah. Looking forward to next year.
Yeah, already very
keen. Get out the way and dive back in.
That's it. Got a couple of weeks break coming up. We're back in a few weeks. As you're watching this now, we'll be back to mid to late January is when we're making our return. But everyone here will know that beforehand. But for now, that'll do us. That is a wrap on 2022. Back again very, very soon in 2023. Until then, though, I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Belle.
I'm Conrad. We'll see you later.
Beautiful. Thank you all so much. We'll see you all again very, very soon. Until then, you know what to do. As always,
drink up.
Drink up. Rock on.
Drink up, rock on.
And the Benjis are really cool, apparently.
Cheers.